Hey y'all, support for today's show comes from Bevel. You know, Bevel is the first and only end-to-end shaving system designed for a consistently smooth, irritation-free shave. And the Bevel Trimmer, a GQ Award winner. Now you can get the Bevel Skin, the dermatologist-tested solution that will level up your skincare routine. Bevel Skin is everything you need and nothing that you don't, made with only the best ingredients. So get your Bevel Trimmer, shave system, or Bevel Skin today at Target.com and in store, as well as Amazon and getbevel.com. And for a limited time, take 15% off your next shipment with Bevel. Head to getbevel.com/theread. The promo will be automatically applied at checkout. This offer does exclude the Bevel trimmer. That's getbevel.com/theread. Getbevel.com/theread. Let's start the show. Welcome back, everyone. I am Myra Boutros Monkhouse.
And I am Lena Horn.
This is The Read. Special new Tuesday episode. So I'm going to say this now since I guess was reminded that a lot of y'all don't listen to the last maybe 2 minutes of the podcast.
Yeah. Don't know why y'all still are doing that.
So at the beginning, I will let you know, for those of you who may have missed it, that the Read podcast is now going to be released on Tuesdays as opposed to the typical Thursday. This is in relation to the television program that we are recording.
Yep.
And scheduling matters involved with that. So, frequently asked questions include, will the podcast still be going on as this TV show shit exists? Yes. Maybe we answered that at the end of an episode as well and you didn't hear it. But
yeah,
we're still going to be doing this podcast. It will be coming out on a different day. So now you get the Read, the long version, Tuesdays, and you get the Read shortened televised visual version on Fridays. It's a double whammy every week. You can't go wrong, right? So welcome back.
This sounds like an ad.
I just wanted to let you girls know Tuesday's the day now.
Yeah.
Tell a friend to tell a friend in case you don't.
So great.
Well, today I figured we could just go ahead and jump into a mailbag episode.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm ever so tired. And
oh, Lord.
I just flew back in to the city from California, where I spent some time staring at final drafts and drinking myself to sleep.
Oh, God.
Shout out to DJ Behead and his block party. Thank you for inviting me. It was a great time. Other than that, you know, I'm here and I'm almost ready for work. I did look at a lot of the stories, the gossip, if you will. Nothing really jumped out at me. I saw Future got into a fight on the street. Somebody knocked him off of his dirt bike or some shit.
Oh, God.
That was fun if you're into World Star Hip Hop era or whatever. I also briefly on the way over here saw a headline that Adele is dating Skepta.
What?
I'm not buying it just yet. But,
yeah, that sounds fake.
Fun to think about, I guess, what the new album would look like. How old is she now? 30?
I think so. 30, 31, somewhere around there.
Whatever that album is, that should be interesting. It has some grime, Afrobeat influence. I don't know.
I guess. We'll see.
So instead we're going to read all of your garbage and all of your mess that you have foolishly sent in to us to review.
Oh, Lord.
So I will get things started.
I was about to say, have you gone in the inbox? Because
I picked out about 7 emails here.
Quite a wreck in there. But
not sure if we can get through all of them. Some of them were already read, so that led me to assume that you looked at them and rolled your eyes and continued.
Yes, that is exactly what happened.
So some of these might sound familiar to you, but folks at home, it should be brand new.
Okay, great.
Well, that's all right. I thought I'd start things off here from a young man who is desperately in need of assistance. So I'm going to call him Brushan. And I don't know why, but that's his name. He says, so here's the deal. About 2 months ago, I met this fine white dude on Jack'd.
Oh, no.
Typically, I didn't know white guys were on Jack'd.
Turn around right now.
I was fine white dude on Jack. Typically, I don't go for white men, but he was fine and presented himself like he had swag. Imagine Travis Kelce. All right, that's
Let me
what
Google that person.
Yep, because I have never heard in my life. I think you spelled his name wrong.
Definitely spelled Travis Kelce wrong.
Oh, this is a football player.
Oh, but he's kind of cute.
I don't know why I expected him to be a Jonas brother or something.
Yeah, I definitely thought he was a musician. Yeah, he's not.
Okay.
I mean, as far as white boys go, you could do a lot worse.
Yeah.
I like him with this full beard and that haircut, though.
Everybody has a taste.
Yeah, I would give Travis Kelce my number.
And then he says, as a gay black man living in the South, I'm always skeptical of white men's interest in me, but I decided to give this guy a chance nonetheless. We hooked up several times and the dick was huge and B-O-M-B. Bomb. It was just sex and I didn't even know his real name. Okay.
Great.
No judgment here. Well, one night after fucking, I caught a glimpse of his Facebook name on his phone. So when he left, I looked it up on my phone, and that's when shit hit the fan.
Yes, detective.
Turns out not only is this bitch married, but he has 3 little girls. To add worse to worse, he's a Trump supporter. There's all kinds of racist, anti-Black Lives Matter posts all on his page. Posts condemning Eric Garner and going off about the cop who shot him losing his job. Confederate flags galore and inappropriate racist jokes. He also works for the police force in some capacity, but not a cop.
Lord help us.
So an informant or like
probably like just somebody who works at the police station, like a dispatcher or something.
Somebody who just slaps the black people when they bring them in.
Yeah. Just the, standard Negro tormentor. That's the thing.
My dilemma is now that I know what I know, I low-key want to expose him. I have nude pics of him with very distinct tattoos and all of our messages. I have an issue with outing men, but I feel like this bitch deserves it. I can't help but think every time he called me something like bitch in bed, that he really wanted to call me a slave or nigger.
Yep.
I feel bad for the kids. Fuck the wife, because I'm sure she shares his beliefs. But I just don't know about ruining a family. Also, if I tell this nigga has about 50 guns per his Facebook pics he can retaliate with. I honestly don't know what to do. Please help. Thanks. Love you both. Brushan.
Well, Brushan, a few things here. First of all, if it were to get out that this man was secretly fucking men and black men at that, it would be him who ruined his marriage or him who broke up his family, not you. Okay. Because there would be nothing to tell, period, if he wasn't doing it. So that's first things first. However, the fact that y'all live in the South leads me to believe that this man is automatically going to have like a lot of people on his side. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of rallying around him regardless. And if he does have a bunch of guns and decides to come shoot you up at home, I think we all know that he's not going to get in trouble for that. So I guess I would try to either anonymously leak his nudes. I mean, like what is really important here is whether he knows that you took nude photos of him.
I'm sure he does.
Okay. So then if he does, you have to be very careful about that. And I might just decide to, email him to his wife and let that be that. But yeah, the combination of like being a Trump supporter, white in the South, lots of guns, ultra crazy and all this, I really do get the urge to want to put this man on blast. But I think it's going to cause you more trouble than it's worth.
This is why I let cute white boys exist.
Yeah. This is why you have
from
to.
a distance for the most part.
Yeah.
I feel like I understand what you said in terms of he's fine and presented himself like he had swag. Again, not too familiar with this Travis person, but I'm going to just, and it's KELCE, just so you know.
And his Instagram is Killer Trav. So that might be where you're getting the swag thing
Given
from.
the National Football League's history, it probably is a killer. But yes, you know, I'm always afraid that I'll be penetrated by a Caucasian only for some shit like this to happen. And there just isn't enough soap. There isn't a powerful enough loofah.
It's true. Oh my God, he has a black girlfriend.
Feel better about that. Oh, of course he does.
Of course he does.
So I feel like, you know, I would either charge this one to the game and move on with my life. In my hole. Or if you're still in contact with him, I might be like, so found your Facebook.
Yeah.
Have some questions. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about some things because as you know, you did send me that cock photograph. That is still in my possession, as well as all of our filthy messages back and forth on the Jacked.
Yep.
And I just feel like, you know, this is this counteracts your alleged feelings on your social media platform, and I feel like people might want to know about that as well.
Who you really are.
I don't even know that I would actually post them. I'm just saying if I was still talking to this nigga, I would absolutely goop him and let him know. So you're on the internet clearly hating black people, but at the same time, you know what I know.
My only thing is,
you want to
like,
shut up or do you?
I would just be scared of retaliation, you know, in the form of murder. That's my only thing.
I feel like that's reasonable.
Yeah, and I feel like if this white man finds out that you know who he really is, his real identity, and you can expose him and he may lose his job and his family and his standing in his community, that might be enough for him to be like, I need to take this nigga out before it even gets to that point.
I mean, facts, you know what I'm saying? Or you could just simply move on with your life. Like,
I think that's going to have to be, I think that's the best option here.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe when it comes to your Jacked perusal, if you stop next to any more Travises or any Tads, perhaps a Bob, maybe you ask them some questions. Maybe you go on a date. Maybe you put a movie on before sex, a movie like The Help or 12 Years. Or, you know, Rosewood.
Something to set the mood.
And just see how things are feeling. What was True Story, Michael B. Jordan is the star.
Fruitvale Station.
Fruitvale Station.
Yep, another really
There's
good one.
Yes. You know, The Hate You Give, perhaps.
Yep.
Put on something riveting and Negro. Medea's Family Reunion.
Oh, God, that'll get anybody to leave.
Something to just arouse an opinion that you can judge him off of.
Yeah.
But this, I feel like, you know what I'm saying? Now you know where to push your pussy and where not to. But I'm not shocked, and he's trash, but
yeah. I might just, next time he texts you, I might just say something like, I don't fuck Trump supporters, or, oh, but that still gives it away. Yeah, I think overall you're just going to have to pack it up, because maybe you were starting to think about this white man as more than just somebody you could fuck around with, and the fantasy has been, you know, killed for you now, so you kind of want to get a little bit of revenge and feel better. But I just think it's going to be more trouble than it is ultimately worth. So
yeah, I think you're going to have to move on from that one.
Yeah, let the Travis clone go.
But I mean, if you want to fuck with him,
you can, but just be aware of the risks. Okay.
You can always send some messages to those closest to you and be like, if I come up missing.
It is. Oh, yeah, you definitely should do that. You definitely should send them pictures of him, his screenshots of his Facebook, the nudes, all that. You should tell probably 2 or 3 people.
Because Billy was not with
it. That's right.
So.
Okay. This letter comes from Bismuth. Or do you want to do another one?
You can go.
Okay. Bismuth says, I've been listening to the read for years, and I know y'all will help me to see if I'm being unreasonable. I've been going to New York Comic Con for years. Initially, it was just me, but one by one, I've been inviting my 3 best friends to come, and now we all go and do group cosplay. This year, we were all planning to go. We had a group costume set, and I booked the hotel room for the weekend in order for us to get there early Saturday morning and to celebrate my friend's birthday. This friend is a mom, and it was established that the baby was not coming with us and she was going to have somebody watch her. However, she didn't mention this to her parents early enough, and they said they couldn't watch the baby because they, quote, have a life. So now her plan is to bring a 6-month-old to the hotel Friday and to Comic-Con Saturday, and afterwards her boyfriend will take the baby home. I understand the learning curve of being a new mom is something to get used to, and things like canceling can happen. I offered up the idea that we maybe not stay that Friday since she'll have the baby and we can just meet Saturday morning, but she didn't see the logic in that. Now I'm going to have to split this room with 3 of us and a baby, and the hotel does not offer cribs. My friend is a nice person, but she has a habit of springing things last minute when plans are already set, and we just have to roll with it. She didn't try to find a sitter or anything for the weekend. I look forward to Comic-Con every year, and it's the only day where I can let my nerd flag fly all day long. But if she asked me to leave early because she underestimated a crowded convention with an infant, then a rude awakening is coming for her. Is she being unreasonable, thinking that I have to change my plans when she didn't bother finding another solution? Or am I just being stubborn because I set this plan to have a great weekend for us and her baby coming is changing it? I'd appreciate any advice, even if it has to be a suck it up read on me.
That was so one-sided. Like, is she ridiculous and
That's
just
how y'all do.
unreasonable? Or, like, am I right because that bitch is trash? Which one is it?
Love biz.
I'm typically, as forgiving as possible when it comes to moms. Not necessarily even just new moms, but moms of a new baby. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because, my God, I'm tired right now. I can't imagine if I had a 6-month-old that needed my attention and woke me up at 2 a.m. because that nigga is up and, like, has opinions and feelings.
Fuck that.
So, I think that I would try to be reasonable, but I think it's also fair to expect for your friend, the mom, a father, whomever, to be like reasonable as well. Comic-Con is an incredibly, incredibly packed event.
Yes.
There's a lot going on. It's a lot of noise. Everybody taking pictures, all kinds of costumes and mechanical things moving around and whatnot. Yep. It's a lot. And a 6-month-old probably just want your titty and a nap, you know what I mean? Yeah. And just whatever. So I think that you have to just be able to find whatever the compromise is. But if I don't know, it's rough because it's like on one end, I think that if the friend is being just wildly unreasonable and acting like she doesn't have a 6-month-old strapped to her cosplay outfit, then it's like, yeah, somebody's gonna have to be like, hey girl, so do you know what time it is? But if everybody's doing their best, you know what I mean? And she's not really being antagonistic or trying to make things difficult and she's doing the best that she can, I say give her a break.
Yeah.
She already tired, hell.
Right. She already is tired. And I can kind of see what you're saying. Like, if she is a new mother or, she's got this new baby, then she probably really wants to go to Comic-Con and, like, get out of the house and do something fun. Yep. And I really do get that. But on the other hand, and it's her birthday. So, there is also that where I would not want to.
Forgot about that.
Yeah. I would not want to, shit on her birthday plans or make her feel left out or excluded on her own birthday.
Because she decided to create a human.
Right. Right. But at the same time, y'all did already have these plans. And to me, the biggest issue is that the hotel doesn't offer a way for the baby to sleep.
Like, yeah, that's kind of stupid.
If there's 4 of you in one room, I'm assuming it's 2 queen beds. And I would be very nervous sleeping in a bed next to a 6-month-old. Just because I would be paranoid all night long that I was going to like throw my thigh over your baby's face.
I've always said that about scared. Anybody who just be sleeping with their baby right next to them in the bed. Yeah. And I've heard so many people say to me that it doesn't happen because it's like a sleep. I don't get it, bitch, because I feel like I'm pancaking this motherfucker, period. And I'm not even like a crazy wild sleeper. I couldn't do it.
Right.
But people have told me, it's like, no, I'm like, there's a part of you just know that they're there even when you're asleep. Okay, girl.
I mean, and so then that sounds like I'm not going to get my full deep REM. I'm still going to be a little bit conscious because of this infant next to me.
It's all about compromising and giving away.
All about
happiness.
not getting quality sleep. Just like, and
never being happy again.
In addition to that, 6-month-olds are incredibly needy. They cannot do shit on their own. But shit, like
they just learn to hold their head up.
That child is going to be waking up randomly, crying, fussing. He's going to need constant attention, which a baby. So I kind of feel like your friend should withdraw herself from the weekend. But if she doesn't do that, then I would say to her, you know, let's make this work for everybody. So if you're coming Friday and we're spending the extra money to stay in the hotel Friday, and then your baby daddy or boyfriend is coming Saturday after Comic-Con to pick this child up, then bring something along that the baby can sleep in. I don't know if they have like pop-up portable cribs or a pack and play, or hell, the car seat, even though I think they're not supposed to sleep in the car seat. But like, bring something so that your baby has somewhere to sleep. When we go to Comic-Con, bring one of them baby holding things where you put it on, like you just wear it like a shirt or whatever, and your baby is strapped in. Yeah, like a Bjorn. Mm-hmm. Something like that where you don't have to worry about like your hands getting tired and all that. And I was
going to say cosplay the baby.
Right. Stick a hat on the baby. I don't know what y'all's group costume is, but if it's like, you're clearly a Steven Universe fan. So you could probably find a Steven Universe star or something.
Maybe lion or some shit,
anything.
Something.
Yeah. And then just, you know, hope for the best. And she may have to step away and miss some things because, you know, she has to whip a titty out or whatever. But
that's what I'm saying. Cause it's like, it also has to do with whatever your plans are at Comic-Con. Cause some people like really have panels that they want to go and be at, and that is way more you know, like peace and quiet is way more relevant in those situations, right? Because fucking, you know, Denai Guerrero or anybody could be up on the stage talking about how hard they bust their ass and bled all over this season of The Walking Dead or whatever, and then all of a sudden this fucking 6-month-old that you don't even want to see is crying and now you can't, you know, so there had to at least, what I can say, I would personally believe is that this is not going to be the only very, very, very young baby at this.
Oh, definitely not.
So
definitely not.
There has to be some sort of a plan that can be put in motion on, you know, in terms of what you can do if the baby starts crying, where you can go, where it might be the most, you know, advantageous spot to be in if you need to sit down and change the baby or whatever. Like, just come up with like a game plan that maybe checks off all boxes in case this baby needs something and that you don't miss anything. And I think if she understands, like, look, you know, Rebecca Sugar and Estelle and everybody from the Steven Universe, they about to be there. And like, girl, if your baby start crying, I'm not gonna miss it. So like, I think that she still has to be fair and understanding enough that she might be inconvenienced in a couple of places because she got to take care of her baby. And that's just part of taking care of a baby. You miss shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But yeah, just try to come up with a plan and make agreements on things that you can do ahead of time. So at least she'll feel supported and surrounded by people that are giving a fuck. But at the same time, make sure that she understands, like, girl, we all want to have a good time. And there are things I definitely want to see. Right. I want to get an autograph from this person, or we can get a shirt from here, whatever. And I didn't get pregnant. No shade. So like, I want to, like, what can we do so that everybody feels fulfilled?
And she may be, when I was younger and I had friends who, you know, kind of accidentally got pregnant, they really struggled with transitioning to the part of mom life that means you have to miss out on some shit. They really struggled with that. Yep. Like, they still wanted to go party with everybody every weekend. They still wanted to hang out. They wanted us to come over and hang out like you ain't have no 6-week-old baby on your titty. And it was just like, some things are going to have to change. But that doesn't mean that your friend should be totally excluded from like fun and hanging out and kicking it and all that. So I think there's some, and you didn't say how old y'all are, but like I said, this was more of an issue when I was younger. Now all my old ass friends, like, they know that they have these
just,
kids.
Get the picture.
Right. They know they have these kids that they have to work around. So yeah.
Dress up the diaper bag maybe and just go all in. You know what I mean? And make it a whole thing. Cosplay the whole baby situation too.
Yeah.
And just try to have as much fun as possible and be supportive of your friend and her baby being present and stuff like that, and just make sure that there is an understanding prior as to what, you know, you maybe can expect and what y'all will do if certain things happen.
Yeah.
And that, like, if it's like, look, it's a Steven Universe panel and a Dragon Ball Z something or whatever, and like those are the things, girl. I'm not missing those things, girl. So yeah, just so you know, 4:15 p.m. on Saturday, whatever.
Right. And maybe if there's something that like you really want to see, then she can make sure that she's, you know, in a place where she can easily get up and leave the room if she needs to.
Right.
And then if there's some nerd shit that she's really into and one of y'all, you know, doesn't really care or whatever, then y'all can kind of take over with watching the baby while she gets into her nerd shit.
Maybe you FaceTime the stream as she's in the bathroom or whatever, change it. You know, I'm just like, reach out hands where you can.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
all kind of shit y'all can do, but you do have to communicate. And if she is completely unwilling to even think about it or be reasonable and that sort of thing, then you have to decide what you're going to do going forward.
Right.
But I mean, as for this situation, the trip is planned. All this is happening this weekend. So y'all kind of have to get on the ball now. And good luck to you.
All right. Well, my next letter comes from someone who says they would like to use the name Ladasha.
God,
it says, Dear Crystal and Kid Fury, my parents have been married for 21 years. Through their marriage, my mother has accused my father of cheating numerous times. Recently, she found text messages between him and another woman. My mother came and told me about, since I'm the old, I didn't edit these.
Yeah, no.
And since I'm the oldest and we have a strong connection. Okay, so she told you about it.
Right.
Right. So she was so upset and told me she wanted a divorce and I should prepare for the worst. Although my father is emotionally distant, he is no deadbeat and I do love him, but I can't look at him the same. My mother confronted him about it and of course he denied it. Now, a few days later, everything seems like it's been swept under the rug. It's like everything went back to normal and I'm confused. Even though she won't say it, I know she doesn't want to go through with the divorce. Maybe she rethought everything, but she still doesn't have to put up with that. I'm very much a mama's girl and I'm still angry with my dad. My mom tells me to respect him, but how could I after all that? Oh, I don't know what to do. Sincerely, Ladasha.
Well, did she say how old she is?
No, but she said they've been married for 21 years.
Okay. So she's probably around 19, 20.
Right.
Probably not older than 22.
I would say around that number somewhere. Yes.
So I think it's really interesting that you said your father is emotionally distant, but not a deadbeat, because that's just not how that works. Like, whether you financially take care of your children is not the only facet of parenting that matters. And the fact that, well, I don't know what else your dad has done other than cheating on your mother.
I think so many people just attribute deadbeat to financial stuff.
Right. I think so too.
If you're not paying for this and that and that and that, you're a deadbeat.
Right. But the thing is, if you're not an active, involved father, if you're not somebody that your children can come to, then you're doing something very wrong. So,
and if you're cheating on their mama.
Right. So the thing is, like, if you grown and you are really upset about it or whatever, I don't see nothing wrong with confronting your father about it, or even going back to your mama and saying, listen, y'all are two grown people, like, in a marriage and all that. That is none of my business. I am still your child. Like, I know that I may be the oldest, and mothers have a way of turning that oldest daughter into their little mini BFF and unloading all their shit onto that little girl.
It's like you become their best
and
friend,
it's like
first cousin.
But I am still your child, and this is still deeply inappropriate.
Like, right? I'm very.
You're not talking about one of your exes from college, girl. You're talking about my daddy.
Right.
Like, this is an inappropriate conversation to be having.
Yeah.
So I would probably go back to her and say, listen, it's your decision whether you're going to stay with him or not. I'm not the one who's been getting cheated on for the past 2 decades. You have. So you decide if that's something you want to continue to put up with. However, as somebody who has a good relationship with my father, I don't want to be brought into y'all's marital issues no more.
It's just, you can't avoid that.
I think that you're gonna have to talk to one or both of them, and if you pick one, then I would say your mama, because she's the one bringing you into this shit. Like, I have a feeling your daddy has never once breathed a word to you
ever
about all the women he's been sleeping with.
Not at all.
And so I would say, look, mommy, if you're not gonna do something about this nigga, you're not gonna leave him or whatever else, then like, fine, but stop bringing me into it. I am still the child in this situation. This is grossly inappropriate. Like, you need your own grown girlfriends to go talk to. You need your own therapist to talk to. You need to get away from this nigga for a few weeks and think about what it is you really want. I don't know, but I'm still a child here, or the child here. So leave me alone.
Yeah, I think I agree. I mean, it's like, I understand situations like this where, you know, this kind of shit comes out and the parents stay together and et cetera, et cetera. But you aren't necessarily, it's not necessarily your job or position to try and get your mother to have this revelation of what she deserves or what her worth is or what she should or should not put up with. If she wants to stay married to your father, that's her business. However, I do think, like you were saying, it's incredibly reasonable and fair for you to let them know that you are affected by this,
right?
And that your perception of them as your parents has been affected by this, and that you need some assistance through that. You know, whether they stay together or not, like I said, is not really anything that you can necessarily control. But I do think, again, like Crystal was mentioning, the fact that your mother brings you into it and the fact that your father is apparently such a sloppy cheater, it's like, girl, well, here I am amidst this stuff anyway, and I have feelings. Yeah. So what are we going to do about that? Because y'all can try and sweep it under the rug and act like this isn't a problem like so many Black generations of old. But here I am, 2019, and I don't like this shit. Yep. So what are we going to do? And maybe that can allow them to have the conversation that they need to have, because so many people, especially parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, whatever, so many people in relationships have like barely a conversation, maybe a side eye or two, and then they go and get them all you can eat breadsticks at Olive Garden, and it's like this shit never fucking happened. Yeah, fuck that. And you be the one sitting, right? As well as like maybe your mama's sister or best friend or somebody. Like, so what? So all the Thanksgivings and Christmas just gonna be awkward. Because of breadsticks. That's right. Got it. Like, you can just... I think that I've been able to... you know, infidelity is not anything that has ever been something I've been aware of in terms of my parents. I don't think that they that kind of wild. But... like, when they have had disagreements and I've had my opinion on this person and that person and why they're mad, as I've gotten older, I've been much better, I think, respectfully communicating that I don't like it. And it affects me in a way that places me in a really negative place. Yeah. And I think, thankfully, that was often enough for them to at least curb their behavior and, like, figure it out. Yeah. But, yeah, I don't know. You can't make your mama, you know, feel the things that you would feel in a similar situation, but I do think you can get them to understand that you don't need to be right in the middle of it. Yeah. Your mother should let you stay in a child's place, and your father, whatever his many issues may be, needs to focus on so many things. Like, I don't know why men think the way they treat their wives or girlfriends or baby mamas don't matter, and all they have to do is be a good father, because you're modeling for your children what relationships, like, even if kids think that they are deliberately not absorbing that and deliberately rejecting what they see, they will still internalize that shit on a level they don't even understand. So both of your parents really need some work, but they also need to leave you the fuck out of their shit. Yeah. So good luck having that conversation. I know it will be difficult. And I definitely understand the whole, you know, going to a parent about an issue you have with the other parent and the parent being like, well, that's still your mama, that's still your daddy.
respect your father, whatever else. Like, but 2 days ago, you was just dragging this nigga and talking about how he wasn't shit and all this. And
so
now
like,
so what is the truth?
What do you want from me? Damn it.
Yeah, good luck, sis.
I mean, you could always do like Homeboy, like the little kid on Soul Food, and just invite everybody to dinner on Sunday. And then,
oh, that's not gonna work. See, kids need to stay out of grown folks' business. And the grown folks need to not bring you into their business.
Yeah, that's fair.
Them kids never needed to know that Faith fucked. Husband.
They were trifling in the way that they did it.
The family fucked my husband.
He was there with his
trash.
auntie, and that was absolutely awful. As well as the scene that was why my parents wouldn't let me watch that, and I had to find Soul Food on cassette or DVD by myself. Mm-hmm. You're not gonna tell me that I can't watch something and then I expect you not to watch it. I'm watching it.
I can't believe we were allowed to have that on VHS. I cannot believe
it was in the house.
It was,
but it was definitely in my parents' room. And my dad used to buy movies and shit like that just like I do. That's probably where I get it from.
Right.
And so I would go in there sometimes just to see like the huge collection of films that my dad bought. And so like he would say sometimes, because some of the movies would be shit that we could watch, but then sometimes he would point out, you cannot watch Soul Food, you may not watch Jungle Fever, you can't watch Menace to Society, and all these other movies. And so I'm like, okay, cool. So when you're not looking,
right, I'm definitely gonna do that.
I'm watching.
As far as I know, we didn't have anything in the house that we weren't allowed to look at.
Nigga, I couldn't watch Pretty Woman.
But, by the time I was in like high school, really, the amount of control they reasonably could have over what I watched dwindled greatly. Because it's like, at this point, this girl's a whole ass teenager. Yeah. She is going to be gone off with raggedy ass friends and that sort of thing.
I think for me, it transitioned from you're too young to watch this to they ain't yours. Don't touch them. Damn. You didn't pay for them, so don't touch them.
You thought you had finally aged out of it, and they were like, actually, these things don't belong to you. They don't belong to you. So
that's why they're not in your room or any of the shared communal spaces that we have.
Lord,
so get out.
All right.
Well, good luck, girl.
Good luck. Yes, girl. Next question comes from Angie, who says, I've been married to my wife for almost 4 years, and coming from an Oklahoma Baptist family, it wasn't the best in the beginning. However, my mother, who was the only one really giving us shit, eventually came around, and she is now sending my wife birthday cards, asking about her and whatnot. My father was always okay with it. My sister isn't the biggest fan of my wife because she knows some of the issues that have happened in our marriage, which is my fault, but she isn't rude. My brother was just curious if my wife wanted to be a boy.
Girl.
Oh, it is so Oklahoma. That is literally the only backlash we have received, which is a blessing. It is.
It really is.
It's sad that that's as bad as it's gotten.
It really is.
My wife wants to have another kid. I have one from a previous relationship, and she's been involved since the birth. Of course, y'all do.
Like, I'm not shocked.
Of course.
Nothing's here.
Y'all do. I have been saying for years,
Change
I will not get married till I have a baby by myself.
Sign the birth certificate and everything.
Will not. Anyway.
My mommies.
My wife wants to have another kid and was saying how we need to think of the dynamics of this kid's relationship with my side of the family because she would carry this baby. That threw me off because there's really no issue on my side other than her and my sister's kind of rocky relationship. My wife doesn't reach out to my family. She doesn't call my dad or try to connect with anyone on my side. So for her to just want to write them off as this horrible family hurts. Her family knew she was gay since day one, and mine only took it serious when I finally married her.
Well, I know what's going on here.
I mean, that's real. That's the thing about studs. Like, I know they have it harder in a lot of ways, but y'all can't be hiding your little dykishness at age 12 or whatever. Yeah, people be knowing. So
it just don't happen.
Anyway, I feel like
that same hoodie and them cornrows.
They know, girl. I feel like my wife is being very rude about this whole thing. I know my family isn't perfect, but neither is hers. She wants me to talk to my sister to fix the issue, but honestly, I think it needs to come from her because my sister is not mad at me. She's mad at how I was treated in regard to some situations, like any sibling would be. My wife has this whole "my family would never" speech that she throws at me every time we talk about this. Should I be the one to try and get her in a better relationship with my family, or should she learn how to use some elbow grease and work it out herself? She does not try at all. My dad loves her, but she doesn't even call him. I always have to make excuses for why she won't come get on the phone when they call. I don't know if I can be with someone who doesn't try to connect with my family, even the ones that love us together. I wish I could sit everyone down for a powwow, but we're all in different states. Please help a sad Okie out. Angie.
I don't know.
Yeah, this one is rough. But I think, so my gut reaction here is anytime it's a situation with married people, married specifically.
Right.
Not your girlfriend of 3 months.
Yeah.
But when it's a married life and y'all have kids and a home together and all that, I really feel like if my spouse has an issue with my family, they do need to talk to that person about it. But because I am the bridge between y'all, I need to be there as well.
I agree.
And me and my spouse need to be on the same page about these things before we go address it with my family member. So I think your wife is right that you should talk to your sister. And maybe you should say to her, look, it's my fault that I told you a bunch of shit about when me and my wife was going through things, because the risk you take when you confide in people you love about your relationship is that they don't get over that nigga as fast as you do. They just don't.
Yes.
And they may stay mad for a very long time. So I would say, and I think maybe that is a conversation that your wife doesn't necessarily need to be a part of, because again, you are the one who let your sister know that there was all this shit going on. So I would maybe talk to my sister, be like, it's really obvious that you don't fully rock with LaShawn or whatever your wife's name is. And so, I just want to talk to you about it, because I know I've come to you before when I found her ex-girlfriend's panties in her do-rag, and it turned into a thing. Wow. But if it's an issue where like she won't get on the phone when your family calls and your dad really loves her and she just won't talk to him or whatever, then I think that's the sort of thing where you need to ask her, what is the issue here? Because my family is trying to have a relationship with us and you are rejecting it.
Some people are really awkward with that kind of thing. I think that I'm one of those people. I'm really awkward when it comes to letting certain people in, especially if I feel like there's obligation attached to it. You know what I mean? Like,
yes,
I would definitely be the person that, and sometimes I hate that shit about myself, because I feel like people want they want to see a person in that kind of environment that is just fully open and honest and comfortable with people asking them questions or getting to know them, and maybe pushing some buttons and you being able to handle that. Like, people want to know that kind of thing. And also, some people will intentionally push buttons and try you and test people to see, oh, well, I don't know if you can handle my sister. I don't know if you right for my cousin or my, so I don't know. But
that's true. People do that.
I think that you have to try and get some clarity, because you was just saying, like, you need to be on the same page if you're going to talk to them anyway, which I totally agree with. But I would try to get some understanding if there's any particular thing she's conscious of that maybe prevents her from connecting with your family as much as you would like her to. Because with me, I know that I would be super awkward and not really know how to balance a conversation with someone I'm dating, with the family of someone that I'm dating, especially early on. And it's not because I don't want to or have no interest or don't like them, but just because I am more so concerned with whether or not I'm going to make them uncomfortable or I'm going to feel inadequate, and all of my insecurities basically bubbling to the top that prevents that from happening in a healthy way. So I think you got to get like understanding from her before you start to assume why she's behaving the way that she might be behaving.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying that you and your wife have to really be on the same page about this. You've got to ask her about all that shit if you just brought up, like, because it could definitely be the case that she feels that same way. It might be, that she felt the initial coldness from your mother, and so that's kind of turned her off to your family altogether, because I mean your daddy is married to your mama, I'm assuming here. But so she might just feel really skeptical or scared about the whole situation. So y'all really do have to get on the same page about it. Tell her you don't want to add another baby to this situation without everything being clear, because I think a lot of times people think that like having kids or whatever will just fix whatever baseline situation is going on, but it's only going to make things more complicated.
Way more.
Right. So she should be open to being fully honest with you about whatever hesitation she has towards this situation. And you should be there when she talks to your family about those issues.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Because they should know that y'all are coming as, if not a united front, at least a front that is on the same page about what's going on.
Right.
And knows that a discussion needs to be facilitated.
For sure.
Yeah. And I think y'all can work this out.
Yeah, I definitely think you can work it out as well. It doesn't sound like anything that is super deep as much as, to me, it sounds like an awkwardness in communication and just figuring out how to have that communication. Because there's some people who I've met probably like a dozen times just in passing or whatever that I'm still a little awkward with because I don't know how to have a conversation with you, or maybe we've never really been in a situation where we could have like an intimate get to know. Like maybe the only times you've ever spoken has only been small talk, and small talk is my...
You hate it so much. Oh God, you hate it so much.
Hate it. And nothing is ever really processed out of small talk. Small talk is just saying words for the sake of words being said. And so sometimes it's like nothing really comes from that except maybe more anxiety.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't overthink it. I would definitely just try and have a chat with your wife and then piece things together.
Yeah, I think so. Good idea.
All right, well, I've got one.
All right. Phenomenal.
This comes,
Oh no.
Well, actually, I had one that was almost the opposite of what you just read, which is somebody who the sister is dating a girl for the first time and she wanted to know if it's a phase or not.
Well, I mean, how would you know if it's a phase or not?
Exactly.
There's no way of knowing that.
I'm going to read this one. It says, "Hi, The Read. So me and my boyfriend have been together for over 5 years. When we initially got together, I was a top 95% of the time.
I deliberately did not choose this.
I know you did. I was the top 95% of the time. And he said that he was fully versed. So they've been together 5 years. He started at 95% time. And my thing is, bitch, what is a 95% top?
That means on your birthday and Christmas.
You get topped by accident.
I'll give up that booty hole. But every other time.
It starts as Friday and then maybe something just slips in. And
you
you're
know
like,
what's up.
Well, I guess.
You already know what's going
95. On. That's just such a, okay. He's fully versed. At the time, I was hesitant about going into the relationship because I knew that bottoming was something I just didn't enjoy. Although I had experienced bottoming that was pleasurable, I just preferred to top and occasionally bottom to please my man, as it brings me pleasure to please him in that way. I asked my partner before we got into the relationship, would that be a problem? And I'm willing to try being more versed if he would be patient with me. We agreed, and over the first year, I mean, it requires it.
It does.
We agreed, and over the first year of our relationship, I noticed that he wouldn't even try to top me. At first it was okay, but then I felt like I wanted it even more because I wasn't getting it.
Oh, God.
I'm lost already. No. So we had a conversation and I read it.
He's a 95% top, but he still wants that dick in the booty hole.
Because he was fully versed and he was like, well, I don't know about that because I'm mostly top and I don't like being bottom.
Right. So then what happened when you wasn't getting no dick?
I guess the mere thought that this nigga is interested in ass but didn't request any from you made you feel a way about yourself.
Oh, got it. See? Got it.
I just prefer to top and occasionally bottoms to please my man. Is okay. I asked my partner before we got into the relationship, would that be a problem? And I'm willing to try being more versed if he's willing to be patient with me. We agreed, and over the first year of our relationship, I noticed that he wouldn't even try. At first it was okay, but then I felt like I wanted it even more because I wasn't getting it. So we had a conversation, and eventually he did top me. But then another 6 months goes by and I noticed that he still hadn't talked to me, nor was I asking because it made me feel weird given our roles in the relationship. So we had another conversation. After that conversation, I would shower and get prepared and walk around the house with my jock strap and my ass hanging out, hoping that he would get the hint. I mean, honey, look, if you just in your
like
job,
you was selling it,
and that wasn't it.
I don't know what to tell you.
There's nothing to get. But he would never take the advantage, and he acted strange. One day I did it again and sat on his lap and started kissing on him, and he said, quote, "I know what you want, but it makes me uncomfortable."
Well, damn.
I'm sorry. This sent shockwaves through my body. Not the good kind. Because I felt like, I added that. Because I felt like he didn't want me in that way. It hurt. And when he didn't speak for an entire week, we didn't speak for an entire week.
Right.
Mind you, we lived together in a 1-bedroom apartment. Eventually, he goes on social media and makes a post about not being attracted to me in that way after we both agreed not to put our business on blast on social media from the beginning of our relationship.
Oh, God.
I found out, and we have a huge argument and almost break up. This was a year and a half into our relationship. Now, remember, they've been together at this point for over 5 years.
Oh,
so this was only a year and a half
this was a long time ago.
Right.
I haven't read this letter in a while.
After that, things got better, and he would sometimes ask me if I wanted it, which is always a turn off because I want him to just go for it.
Oh, Lord.
The gays. But at least it was happening once every 3 to 4 months. Then after we made it to year 4, he only topped me once, and it's been a year since. I was at my breaking point and flat out told him he needs to fuck me more often, period, with a T. Then we attempted.
Woo.
Then when he attempted, he was unable to get it up. We tried again, and he still couldn't rise to the occasion. We had a conversation about it, and now he suggests that I find a guy who is willing to fuck me on the side in order to satisfy me. Well, at first, I was willing, but then the thought of having to find someone who I don't know to link up with just to have sex with makes me uncomfortable when all I want is him. I'm at a loss. I don't know if I need to end our relationship because of sex when everything else between us is great. But I can't see myself marrying a man who can't satisfy me sexually. Please help. Sincerely, a dry top.
So, yeah.
So I chose this because I felt like there were so many poor decisions made.
There are a lot. Yeah. And that is probably why I did not choose it. Because there's so much going on, and I feel like you usually don't want to answer questions about tops, bottoms, verse, that sort of thing. You're always like, oh, leave me alone, the gays. But
well, as I said already, I don't know what being 95% top is.
Yeah, you know? I think you and your man have a couple issues going on here. Number one is that both of you were either unclear about what you really liked sexually or your tastes have changed. Because it sounds to me like you are verse and your man is fully a bottom. That's what it sounds like to me.
Let me tell you something. In my younger ignorant years, I used to go by a very subtle chart that would be like, God damn it. So you say you top, right? You would just bump down whatever that person said by maybe 1 or a half. You know what I mean? So there's top, then there's verse top, there's fully verse, verse bottom, bottom, power bottom. Yeah. You know what I mean? So most tops or most niggas that I had met that are saying that they're fully top, I find to be somewhere in between fully verse top. Yes. What that means is that it's probably unlikely that they will be tops, but there is a specific type of person that makes them want to be bottom.
Yeah, got you.
And so with that, I would say the same thing with your boyfriend. It seems like you are just not who he pictures topping. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It doesn't have anything to necessarily do with being attracted to you or not. He just may not see you as somebody that he wants to climb on. You know what I mean? So I think you got to kind of just accept that and make peace with that. This nigga has already done told you might as well go and fuck somebody else if that's what you want. Which couldn't be clearer. Yeah. He's not doing it, girl. Right. He is not doing it. He doesn't want it from you. Which begs the question, why y'all even bothered labeling yourselves when you started off anyway? Yeah. You could just simply have sex and see where it goes.
Yeah. And you've mentioned that, oh God, what did he say? Like the gender roles or whatever in the relationship are what's holding him back, or they're an issue for him, which is the other thing I was going to point out. Like, it's really important that those of us in same gender relationships let go of this I'm the boy, you're the girl shit. And I fully get it. As a woman who is completely femme and exclusively dates masculine people, I fully get that.
Yeah.
But the simple fact of the matter is that neither one of us is the girl or the boy. We are both just ourselves in this situation. And even straight people don't have to adhere to whatever bullshit stereotypes that, you know, exist for their relationships.
It's so archaic and dumb. And, and like being gay, queer, whatever it is that you want to call it, I would like to say gives us the opportunity to rise above it.
Yeah.
Like we, if no one else, should be able to just meet.
We should.
And speak.
But we have our own shit
in the middle
that keeps us from that. We really do.
Super that.
So I think couples therapy could be really beneficial here for the two of you to try to figure out what's at the root of this. I only want a bottom. I never want to top my man for him. And then for you, like, I thought I was mostly a top, but then you don't be giving me the dick. So then I want it. Like, I think a therapist can help y'all unpack the reasons behind some of that. But I don't think that the suggestion, like him saying, to me, the fact that he said, you need to find somebody else to fuck you, means to me that that man is not verse. He is literally never wanting to put his dick inside.
Or like I said, he is not ever going to be verse for you.
Right. Right. It's something like that. But so again, I think couples counseling here is really effective because it can help y'all decide if you even still want to be together. 5 years is a long time, especially for homosexual relationships. And y'all may have just outgrown each other. Y'all may be in two different places in life. But if that's not the case and both of you are still totally committed to the relationship, then y'all need to figure out why you have these hangups that don't really mean anything.
They don't mean anything.
They don't mean anything, but they are keeping y'all from enjoying one another intimately. So a therapist would be hugely beneficial here.
And people definitely, as time goes on, as they get older and things like that, their preferences and their kinks and desires can shift and change and go back and come this way again and da-da-da-da. And that's just a part of life. So as it is clear to me, you are not a 95%.
Nope.
You know, if you ever were, you are not in this situation.
That's right.
And he is not fully versed. So you might as well just throw both of those labels right on, you know, over your shoulder, out the window behind you, and stand up in what you're at right now, which is you want dick from this nigga. He's not going to give it to you. I would assume that he is, though, fine with getting dick from you.
Right.
So like Crystal is saying, there are people that you can talk to about that. Or you might want to think about, you know, having threesomes or foursomes or bringing other people into the situation to, you know, satisfy other things.
Yeah. A lot of us are just hopelessly, what is it called when you're not polyamorous, monogamous?
Whoa.
I feel like monoamorous should work, but it's fine. Some of us are just like fully stuck on being monogamous and we'll never be able to evolve past that, which is truly a shame. Right. It is fair.
Don't sound like your nigga is.
But it's unfortunate for us. And right, I don't even necessarily think he wants you to have a relationship with somebody else as much as he's trying to convey to you that he's not finna fuck you.
It's not gonna do it.
Right.
You had on your little jockstrap in his lap.
And he was like,
he kindly was like, no, thanks.
You could go put some Timbs on and that would be great.
Have any Paco jeans in your closet, then let's do that.
We're not gonna sit around doing each other's toenails and talking about boys. We're not doing it, friend.
I don't want any of that. So, if you know somebody who knows somebody, maybe we can, you know.
Perhaps, but this here that you're giving is not it.
We're not doing that.
I don't know that I have any other advice for y'all, but best of luck in figuring things out. And I hope that it's a situation where you both are fully invested in the relationship and willing to do what it takes to make it work. And also, if y'all are in a place where you're just two different people and it's not going to work, that y'all are able to split without a bunch of drama and bullshit.
Absolutely. I mean, at the very least,
woo, Chile.
You just got to sort of understand where everybody is right now and what you're with and what you're not with.
Definitely. Let's take a quick break and we'll be right back with more of y'all's absolute bullshit. Hallelujah.
Hey y'all, this episode is coming to you from HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit, you will get easy seasonal recipes and pre-measured ingredients delivered right to your door. All you have to do is cook and enjoy. HelloFresh makes cooking delicious meals at home a reality, regardless of your comfort in the kitchen. From step-by-step recipes to pre-measured ingredients, HelloFresh gives you everything you need to get a wow-worthy dinner on the table in just about 30 minutes, so you can finally say goodbye to endless grocery store trips and take out food. HelloFresh offers something for everyone, from family recipes to calorie smart and vegetarian, and fun menu series like Hall of Fame and craft burgers and all kinds of fun stuff. It's very, very flexible. Easily change your delivery days, food preferences, and skip a week whenever you need. Or you can add extra meals to your weekly order, as well as yummy add-ons like garlic bread, cookie dough, whatever it is that you're feeling. And like, personally, HelloFresh is something I'm super, super into because I'm gonna be having all the time to go to the grocery store and figure out and think about this.
Period.
And they send you everything you need that you basically just throw into your oven, your stove, or your whatever, and you can eat.
There's so many great recipes that I have found on HelloFresh. They very graciously sent us some of the boxes, and I was like, wow, this really makes cooking so much easier than what it has to be. Very clutch. And if you're looking for something to help you out with time and effort, then HelloFresh is for you. For $80 off your first month of HelloFresh, go to HelloFresh.com/TheRead80 and enter code TheRead80. That's like receiving 8 meals for free when you go to HelloFresh.com/TheRead80 and enter TheRead80. $80 off your first month of HelloFresh. Let them know Kid Fury and Crystal sent you. Let's get back to y'all's mess.
We're back, and it is now time for more letters.
That is true. Continue to send your questions to asktheread@gmail.com. We're going to pick right back up with, I need just a generic name.
Bugina.
Bugina says, I have this friend who recently ghosted me out of the blue. Me and this person have been friends for 2 years, and we've never had any real issues or fallings out. We would talk multiple times a week at length about everything without any pauses in the conversation. We discussed our goals, fears, triumphs, etc. Well, over the time that we've known each other, my friend was going through a rough patch in their life and was trying to find themselves. They still lived in their hometown, worked a 9 to 5, did nothing else, and was feeling stagnant and unhappy. Because I love to see my friends grow, I spent countless conversations over months coaching them and putting a bug in their ear that maybe they needed a fresh start in a new city. From there, I helped them put the plan in motion to relocate. After they relocated, right when I read that part, I was like, I literally did bully him into moving to New York. I did do that.
Pick a date. You don't just say fall. That's not how moving works. God damn. When is the day?
Anyway. I did do that.
You did.
Still. So they relocate, and they're actually loving the new city and seem so much more eager about getting out to meet new people and further pursue their dreams. Not you. You were very interested in staying home.
Oh, yeah.
It also helps that they had friends in the new city. But as the months have gone on, I've noticed that our conversations become less, and it seems like every time we get on the phone, my friend would be short with me or sometimes have an attitude unprovoked. I had to check them on it a couple times, but didn't want to make a big deal out of it. Months later, when I went to visit, they had other friends staying with them briefly, and even in observing their interactions with the other friends, my friend joked and entertained the others way more than they did me.
Oh.
Now, I'm not one to try and monopolize friendships, and I was genuinely happy for them, but I felt the discrepancy. All the while, I've done nothing but support this person, and we've never had any significant arguments or fights. Since heading back home after the trip, I have not heard from this person. I asked them if there was something I did wrong, and they said no. I haven't fucked their boyfriend, called their mama out her name, etc. I'm at a loss. Right. The things that really matter. I'm at a loss, and to be frank, my feelings are a little hurt because I take friendships very seriously. Right. I understand people grow apart, but damn, it's fucked up to ghost on somebody who's done nothing but support you as a friend. Have you guys ever encountered this? Should I cut this person out of my life for good if they try to reach out? Sincerely, Bugina?
Yeah, that's what I said.
Bugina.
Whatever.
Great.
Girl, they didn't say their age.
Did not.
Okay.
But I'm going to guess mid-20s.
Right. That's kind of what I was thinking. And I don't really like to assume that it's just like an inherent human thing that you have a revelation at certain ages, because I know there's people I hear 50s and 60s still a hot ass 16-year-old mess.
They drank them revelations right away.
Right. So
they never got the memo.
But what I will say is I have experienced things like this before, as well as been on the other side where I've had friends, say that I've been distant and things like that. And it's always about conversation. I don't even think that you can really call a friend if you're not willing to have really uncomfortable conversations about the status of your relationship with them. Like, you should be able to sit down and be like, you did this and it pissed me off. You did this and it really hurt my fucking feelings. You did this and I don't get it. Or I was really upset about blank. If you can't do that type of shit and be real with one another, then I don't even know if you're friends.
Right.
But
it's true.
As far as this is concerned, to me, yeah, people do grow apart sometimes. And there isn't always an explanation. There isn't always an easy answer or a specific thing that it's attributed to that you can be like, oh, well, this is why we're not as close as we used to be. Sometimes it's literally just like a spiritual thing that just happens and people drift into different directions. And there's nothing that you can really explain it through or explain about it. And it's not necessarily your responsibility or business to get into this person's head and wonder why they don't fuck with you like they used to.
Yeah.
You can confront them, and I would. And just so that at the very least, I can say that via myself how I feel about this situation and why I'm hurt. And go from there. You know what I mean? And if there's improvement, if things change for the better, great. But if things remain the same, then I would just say, like, you drifted apart. And that happens with family. It happens with people you date. It happens with friends. It's not a thing that I always has like an answer that you can write down. All you can really do is just acknowledge that it happens and it doesn't really have anything to do with your worth or value. And just do what you gotta do for yourself.
So I just want to say that ghosting is what happens when somebody completely stops communicating with you.
Yeah.
And that is not what happened here. This person doesn't call you or maybe initiate conversation, but when you reached out and asked if you did something wrong, they said no. So it's not like you're being ghosted here. What I think is happening is that your friend was in a really low place when y'all first started becoming friends. And thanks to your help, they feel a lot better, which is great. But that also means they now have more energy for work. They have more energy for other people in their life, for their own hobbies. And so everything can't be revolved around you anymore like it once was.
Right.
So I think especially because y'all live in different cities, I would chalk this up to my friend is feeling a lot better emotionally. This nigga is way less depressed, doing more things, having fun at work, and I am happy for you. And I would file that friendship in the appropriate place.
Right.
More like, when we talk, we're cool, everything's good. But it's also, it's very unfair to assume that you will be the one to keep up the friendship.
Yeah.
If this nigga never calls you or texts you, then you have every right to not call or text them either. Friendship is a two-way street.
Yeah.
That is something my mama had to drill in my head because I was so bad about like not calling friends, not doing, not initiating, not asking people, do you want to come over and play or whatever. I was really bad about that because I was like, if they want to play with me, they'll call me.
Yep.
And if they don't, then they won't. But that's not the case. They thinking the same thing about you.
I was number one for seeing these bitches down at the Falls or fucking Cutler Ridge Mall, and I'm not there. And it's like, but
how dare y'all?
I was not invited, and I feel like
no invite? 2 question marks.
I don't ever hear nothing from you. I invite
there
you
before
a million times,
but
you never come. So
friendship is not a state of being; it is an active thing that you do to remain in relationship with one another, just like every other relationship that exists. And so I don't think this person has gone ghost on you. You said you understand that people grow apart, but I think you're having a hard time accepting that y'all have grown apart.
Yep.
And so if this person reaches out, I wouldn't cut them out for good. I would say in a way that does not blame them, I would say I felt like after you moved, I meant less to you and our relationship, our friendship mattered less to you. And so I didn't want to continue to reach out because I felt like you weren't, reciprocating that energy. And then hopefully y'all can have a mature conversation about it and still remain friends or whatever. But I don't think this is a thing I don't know. Like, obviously, I don't know you, but I think a lot of this has to do with you and your own history, your own trauma, and that sort of thing. Like, the fact that you are taking it this hard, I think has something to do with your own history, your own background, the things that you've gone through. Because again, for me, it was like, if all my little friends was at a sleepover or whatever, which, oh God, never happened, I probably would have thrown myself off the roof.
Yeah.
But if all my little church friends was at a sleepover and I wasn't there, but also I never made any effort to reach out, I never answered the phone when they called, I never, talked to them after Sunday school or whatever, then, you just kind of have to, take it. This is part of growing up. You have to understand that we all have our own shit. We all have our own trauma. We all have our own mess that we are constantly fighting against in order to be good, decent, productive people.
Wait till one of y'all, got kids or...
Child, and watch the communication cease. Okay. Listen, I have friends who have had so many kids. My God, them niggas have a whole nursery worth of children. And your relationship just changes because it has to. Your friend sounds like they are in a much better place in life. And so I would try to focus on being happy for him that he now is, or they, God damn, I'm sorry. I don't mean to keep doing that.
You're human.
But I would just try to be happy for this person. I know you said you were doing it, but I wouldn't take it as I did something wrong, therefore we're not talking no more.
Right.
And I feel like somebody throughout your childhood made you feel like they could withhold affection or withhold conversation if they felt like you didn't do something right. I'm just guessing here.
It's also just like a super regular trait of a lot of people to be in positions like this and feel not necessarily belittled, but feel insignificant maybe. Or feel as though like, oh, well, what is it that I did? Is this person upset with me? And a lot of times it really got nothing to do with you at all. Yeah. So don't make any assumptions because they're absolutely not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. But just have the conversation and be willing to just understand that this is a part of life. Sometimes you don't really have the connection that you used to, especially if you don't live in the same city. Yeah. So
focus on how much happier and at peace this person is as opposed to when they were calling you every day and y'all was on the phone for hours every day.
Right.
Commiserate.
Like this is a whole new person.
Right. And maybe you miss your buddy to vent about, depressing shit with. In which case, there are plenty of other friends who love to talk about morbid, terrible things or, feelings and all that other bullshit. There's that, there's therapy, there's journaling, all that sort of thing. But I don't think this person is necessarily being malicious and trying to cut you out.
Yeah, it is not. That's not what it sounds like.
Yeah. So just try to be understanding and then think about your own life, your own history, and how that might be informing the way that you're looking at this situation. Right. And good luck to you.
Because like maybe I've had friends that I feel like have drifted away, and I still feel like if I were to see any of them today, I'd hug them. It would be like the last time I saw them and things like I don't have any sort of ill will to people that we've just sort of grown separate. It's just life. Yeah. And like, I wish you the best. And if we see each other, hopefully it's all good.
My best friend in high school, we stayed friends after high school. And even though we only saw each other like during the summers or whatever, lived in different cities. And then she had a baby and things got even more strained. And then she kept making these decisions where I was like, oh my God, bitch, you're getting on my nerves and all that sort of thing, to the point where we just kind of naturally stopped speaking to one another. But that bitch could walk in here right now and I would be like, oh my God. Right. Like, that's my bitch. Because you just realize as you age that everything can't be forever. Some shit is just for a season and you can enjoy that season and let it go.
Especially when you talk about people you've been connected with in like high school, middle school, college and stuff like that, where you all kind of have the same sort of experiences and environment. Right. You all got homework. You probably got a lot of the same teachers and shit like that. A lot of your behavior and interests and the places that you go and hang out and stuff is very the same. Yes. And as you get older and you have your own individual responsibilities and stuff like that, it changes. But
good luck to you.
All right. So this letter comes from Carolina. It says, Dear Kid Fury and Crystal, my family and I watched Acrimony yesterday. And we were all in our feels about it. The premise of the movie wasn't that bad, but that ending was Out of left field, ridiculous. Plus, the way it was shot was so lazy. I couldn't believe it wasn't straight to video. We didn't entirely love it, but it did cause us to have a giant discussion on whether Robert was a fuckboy or not.
Niggas.
Robert was the husband, love interest of
I know.
Taraji's character.
I know.
Just for people who may not have seen it. I mean, he did take her money, cheat on her, leave her fending for him for years, and basically fucked up her sister's business out of his selfishness. But at the same time, he did pay her back everything that he took, bought her mom's house back, and gave her a heartfelt apology. The man in my family, of course, said he wasn't because she got $10 million, so why is she still mad? The women said she sacrificed her time and he owes her way more than that for it.
Oh, Lord.
My sister said she just wanted her man back since she listened to her sisters and regretted. I understand this because my mother is kind of like Taraji's character was at the end. Way to read your mama.
Right?
My mother, it's like if you've seen it. My mother, is your mother some sort of fucking superpower fish mutant woman?
Right? Okay. I wouldn't do that to my mama, but it's okay.
I understand this because, yes, my mother divorced my father to get his attention, fought him for 2 years on it, willingly took nothing from the marriage when it was finalized, only to come back bitter years later, fighting him for the little he does have because he happily moved on with a new wife. What do you guys think? Is Robert solely to blame since he did cause all of it, or is Taraji's character just nuts? I know y'all rightfully shit on the movie for its laziness, but I'd love to hear more on the I'd love to hear more on the dynamic between the characters from you. Thanks so much, Carolina. P.S. I can see what you mean by how she got back on the boat. But what if it was one of those horror movie, the bad guy is suddenly behind you type of things, or just more lazily done? Was there a ladder to get back on? My fiance says she levitated. It went from drama to horror real quick.
It went from drama to comedy real quick.
She
airdropped herself back onto that boat.
Simply levitated from the ocean and walked on water and stepped back on the boat.
Oh, God. Somebody emailed us months ago and said, as gamers, y'all should know that Taraji simply loaded from a previous save point. And I was like, I'm mad that I'm such a nerd that I get this.
That is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my life.
So this is actually part of my critique of this movie because I feel like
mine too.
Tyler Perry deliberately did this.
Yes.
Made it to where you could not be mad, quote unquote, at the man no more. And Taraji was just crazy.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
This is like my biggest issue, actually, despite the horrible script and the terrible effects and the green screen and all that.
And them context.
Right. All of it. Like, why didn't y'all just hire a girl?
Why didn't you just hire a girl who had Taraji's eyes?
I don't get it. But anyway. I think your family, the right answer is somewhere in the middle. Yes. Robert more than made up for the financial issues that he caused his wife. What was the character's name? Taraji's name?
Oh, who knows?
We'll call Taraji. So yes, he definitely paid back the money and then some. However, there is no amount of money you can give me that will compensate for the fact that I wasted my youth on you.
Yeah.
Now, that's not his fault. Because you fully chose to be there.
Sure.
You chose to be there. You chose to invest your time. You did eventually leave that nigga. At first it was a good decision. Then it wasn't. And I can even understand how a woman who put in all that time and effort with a man only for him to hit it big and then not be with her no more. I can see how that would sting.
Yeah, like I feel like I said this when I talked about it before, but it feels like somebody listened to Ring the Alarm and then tried to make a movie about it. It's like the whole shit is about like, no, you're not about to take your wonderful come up life.
How dare you name the boat after your new bitch?
Right. Like, we're not doing that.
But however, stalking them and trying to murder them both was not the move either, girl.
Throwing the people who work on the boat off the side of the boat.
Like, what? Right. And then this man talking to his new wife, like, no, baby, go save the crew. Go save the crew.
And she legit got into the damn lifeboat or whatever to go and get them niggas.
To go row out on Tyler Perry's fake ocean.
On the boat that was apparently still moving, However, Taraji was still able to just come up anyway.
The movie was bad, but I will say this. If you're caught in a real life acrimony situation, the real truth or the real fairness of the matter is somewhere in the middle.
Yes.
You kind of have to take accountability for the fact that you chose to spend so much time and money with this motherfucker.
Right.
But you can also say, I am luckier than 99.999% of bitches in that I got compensated for my shit.
I got a big bag.
That's right.
From this nigga anyway. That's what I'm saying. And you're so right. Because like I was going to say, I feel like it was intentional. The way that they handled this dark-skinned nigga character in the Tyler Perry movie.
Exactly.
When that nigga gave her that $10 million in a real ass apology and was like naming the ways he was wrong. Bought the lady's mama's house back, like did everything I could possibly think to make up for it, only for her to go off the deep end and try to kill these niggas. So it was clear that the whole story was about the fact that she went crazy because this nigga was successful anyway, although she had all of this negative. Because I feel like most people...
Oh, Lord. Say it. You give me a check for $10 million, I will forget literally anything and everything you did to me.
I'm trying to tell you, like, I know people who've gone through worse with niggas who didn't get a happy meal.
That's right.
Like,
not a damn thing.
Not a goddamn thing. No chocolate bread from Cheesecake Factory.
None of that.
Nigga, you didn't get a Doritos Los Tacos.
Nope.
Nothing from this nigga. 10 million, my mama's house, and acknowledging that you wasn't shit.
Right.
Nigga, do you need a flower girl at the wedding? What you need?
Listen, only thing was missing was like 10% of the, stake in whatever that battery was worth.
Business.
The same battery, which, the whole thing was that it runs on its own energy, but yet he shut your house's electricity
down. Somehow he burned out the power.
But why was it even drawing power from your house if the whole thing is that it runs on its own?
And was that like a full-time response? You can work part-time?
And I just felt like after he gave her that check, Robert gave Taraji that check, it turned from a story that could have been redeemed to one that couldn't, because Tyler Perry, God bless his heart, is so lazy when it comes to talking about mental illness and that sort of thing. And I think it was supposed to be about the fact that, which if you pay attention to this horrible script, there are several signs throughout the movie that Taraji's character is mentally ill.
Yeah.
But it's constantly written off as, well, this man is such a stress and he's such garbage that who wouldn't feel this way?
Right.
So then after she gets the check and she doesn't have a reason to blame him no more, then it's like, oh, I'm just crazy.
And I'm doing tribal dances in the house.
And smoking in the dark and sneaking past my mothers-in-law and sisters.
It's just like, I may have to agree with the niggas in your family, sis, because it's like, in this particular story, I feel
But this story is not real life.
Of course it is.
It's not indicative of what would happen in real life. A $10 million check to a regular everyday ass call center bitch.
Still being salty, as you mentioned, like your mama, I guess was.
Right.
That I can't understand. And I feel like the women or whoever was feeling that way in your fam or in your group, that makes sense. Because yes, outside of possibly getting a check and stuff like that, you could feel like, well, damn, like I spent, 25 years with you and you wasn't fucking shit. And as soon as you make it big and you're a fucking billionaire, now all of a sudden you with this Instagram bitch and you want to give me an apology. Like I can understand still feeling salty about it. Personally, I would take my 10 million big ones to Saint Tropez.
That's right.
Like Dubai and all of the above, wherever it is that I want to go and shake my ass. Like, nigga, I'm dapping you up. I'm trying to tell you, if you need a ring bearer at your new wedding, I'm present. But that's me.
Listen, soon as your $10 million check clears, I'm deleting your number out of my phone.
I never knew you.
And I'm going.
You're never going to hear about me again.
Yes, because if you're smart about it, $10 million is I quit my job and I'm never working again money. So, again, I felt like it was Tyler Perry's way of like making the woman justified, but then even still managing to make her the problem in the movie.
It was the worst way to get a psychological thriller. Which is something he does all the time.
He does that all the time. So
yes, in the case of Robert and whoever Taraji was called, no, because I don't think that it makes rightful sentence for you to go and murder this nigga and his whole family or whatever the fuck because
no, it doesn't.
of whatever Taraji was going through.
Melinda,
that's right. But I do understand being frustrated that on this side and that side and whatever.
Right. Yeah, I get it.
It's just this
girl.
movie. And then she goes, well, my mother does kind of act like Taraji at the end of the movie. A murder?
I bet your mama didn't get no $10 million check.
Hello?
She probably didn't even get no $10,000 check.
That's when you do want to blow up somebody's boat.
Okay. I bet somebody put your mama through hell over and over again and she didn't get nothing out of it but a lesson.
You wouldn't even pull into a goddamn Shell gas station and just fill the tank up. Of course I want you to die.
Please.
Well, that's it. What's yours?
Okay. This next question is from Ashley, who says, you can use my name since it's top 5 most common names in the world.
True.
Thanks, Ashley.
Even boys are named Ashley.
Right, sure. Leslie and Stacy and all that. But anyway, I recently started online therapy because I couldn't find any therapists in my city who were taking new clients and I couldn't be bothered to wait months for an appointment. I've never been much of a talker or someone who acknowledges my feelings, so I'm having trouble initiating discussions with my therapist. It usually takes me months, if not years, to fully trust someone, especially when I'm only seeing them face to face once a week on Skype. Crystal, I remember hearing you say that you started out on Talkspace and that helped you move on to in-person therapy. So I was wondering if the two of you had any advice for someone who is just starting out in the therapy process. I'm also finding it hard to tell my family and friends about it because I don't want to be viewed as crazy, ungrateful, or be told to pray about it. How long did you wait before telling your family about therapy, and how were you able to deal with everyone's reaction? Love the show. Thanks, Ashley.
Well, I don't think that it took too long for me to tell my parents that I was in therapy. However, I did see a psychiatrist twice when I was around the age of 16. I feel like I've talked about this on the show before. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think that it would be, a huge surprise that I was seeking therapy on my own. And as far as like their opinions on it or whatever, they were mostly supportive, but they had a lot of misconceptions about stuff. They had concerns about things they didn't need to be concerned about. And luckily, as I've said, my doctor was very clear with me, not even for the purpose of going and sharing this with people who had questions, but just for my own sanity. Because I did also feel like, I felt vulnerable and weak and crazy and all of these things for going to therapy at the beginning.
Yep.
So I really needed to hear a lot of the information that was given to me for myself anyway. But what that allowed me to do was basically give a rebuttal to anything that was thrown in my way.
Yeah.
Anytime my mother would say, she had concerns about me taking medication because this and this and that happened, and I had an answer for this and this and that and all of this other stuff. So I feel like I was luckily enough prepared to be able to have the conversation with people who had whatever the fuck to say. But you should be seeing somebody who is going to empathize with you, who's going to at least try to have a real connection with you, and who was going to really educate you on all of the stuff that's going on in your brain and your chemicals and whatnot.
Yep.
So, at least for me anyway, that was the best way for me to feel at ease about the whole process of therapy and the process of medication and being depressed, having anxiety. Now, it's just like, any other condition to me in terms of discussing it and shit like that.
Yeah.
But also, I don't know, I feel like knowing that I live away from home, my family live in a whole other state. This is my immediate family.
Right.
And I'm responsible for myself. I didn't really see the worst in being like, so I'm seeing a therapist because I feel like shit. And,
right.
They got me taking these pills and blah, blah, blah. Like, even if you disagree or you're so upset about it, all that's going to happen is we hang up and I go back to my life. So, I don't know.
Well, I will say this. The very first time I went to therapy, I was in my 20s. Me and my first girlfriend had broken up and I was not taking it well.
Right.
So I had a white lady therapist that I found through my insurance, and she basically got me back on the I don't want to kill myself road. Basically, that's where that went. So when I started talking to my Talkspace therapist, it was right after a very traumatic event, and I just knew that is that your phone?
I don't know. I didn't hear anything. No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. So when I started, it was like coming from a place of I already know how beneficial therapy can be, and I really, really fucking need some now.
Yeah.
Because I need somebody to help me figure out not necessarily why this happened, but why I stayed in this position and why I keep choosing this kind of person.
Right.
So it helps a lot, but I also totally understand when you're like, it takes me months or years to trust somebody with my shit. But that is the beautiful thing about therapists. You don't have to wait a long time to make sure they're not going to throw your shit back in your face or go tell your friends or family or whatever, because they literally legally are not allowed to do that. Like they have to. And especially if you find a good therapist, which I am sure all of the ones on Talkspace are, but when you are talking to a truly qualified mental health professional, they want you to feel better. They want you to be able to process your shit. And so being able to just be vulnerable and spit it out. Like for me, it was a lot easier to type out what happened than for me to get on Skype with that lady and tell her what happened.
Right.
It was a lot easier for me to type it all out because like, girl, I might not be able to say to you out loud why I did these things. So I think that really helps when you look at it as, this is a doctor. And would you wait years to tell a doctor just because he was a new doctor that you had like a lump on your clitoris? No, you would not. You would be like, hey, doc, let's check my blood pressure and, heart rate and all that. And then let's look at this boil on my clitoris. You would do that. You would mention your issues.
I'm going to name the episode Clit Boil.
Great. Great. So I think you should look at it like that. This is a doctor, probably, but even if not a doctor, this is a qualified mental health professional. This is what they're here to do. They can't fix your shit or help you. They can't fix it at all, but they can't help you fix your shit if you're not willing to tell them what your shit is.
Right.
If you're not willing to say, I'm struggling with A, B, and C, then, there's only so much your therapist can do for you. As far as telling family, they figured it out. I didn't tell them when I started, but when I kept going to therapy and it changed so much about the way I see myself and the way I treat myself, when I went home and had these conversations, with my mama and my aunties about my dad or my brother and all that, like talking to my brother about my daddy's bullshit and all this other shit, it just came up automatically because otherwise it's like, well, where the fuck did you get all this from? Like when did you turn into this independent ass bad bitch who advocates for herself? Yes, girl, it happened in therapy. And so once I was comfortable with talking about the shit I had been through and confronting my family about it, that's when I was comfortable with saying I've been in therapy. Yeah. I don't think you have to tell them automatically. It might be the sort of thing where you feel like you need to protect yourself and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you've been in therapy long enough, you'll know that it's okay to talk to your family about it because number one, you will just do it. You won't particularly give a shit. And number two, caring about their reaction only extends to, I need to know about your reaction so that I can decide how I best need to advocate for myself.
It's almost like learning a trade or just, I don't know, taking an art class or something. Yeah. It's just like you're literally practicing how to take better care of yourself.
Exactly.
And after a while, it becomes second nature, some of the decisions you make and some of the things you don't do anymore and whatnot. And I think that is definitely the place where you will find it easier to communicate with people around you about your experiences with it.
Definitely.
And accept without any feeling, whatever. Because another thing that like early on for me, I don't know if this is bad or not, but I used to think to myself when I would judge like, oh, this lady's going to think that I'm, the worst or I'm so weird or whatever. I would think to myself, okay, well, she's also like a trained, licensed psychiatrist. this lady might have clients that fucking think they're werewolves and climb skyscrapers with their bare hands.
Oh,
and,
Lord God.
Like, I'm just thinking, I would think to myself, like, what is the worst that I could possibly say to this thing? I haven't killed anyone. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't assaulted anyone. I don't have any bodies buried underneath my floorboard. So what is it that I could possibly say to this lady that would make her, like, you know, hang up in my face or something, or kick me out of her office or whatever. So, yeah, you just get trained, you get used to treating yourself better and responding to things better and sort of understanding what it is you're dealing with the more you get into it. But it's supposed to be difficult at first.
That's so true. Because when I first started therapy, I could not, the things I told my therapist, like, we worked through my immediate trauma. And then after we did that, which took the better part of a year, I realized I had so many more goddamn issues. And at no point before then was I ready to talk to my family about that, because so many of my issues revolved around them niggas. And so I think you just have to get to the point where you feel like it's okay for you to confront your family, specifically your parents, because a lot of us have been drilled, you know, for all of our lives, this whole respect your mom and daddy no matter what, honor your mother and father, you know, no matter what abuse they put on you type of bullshit. And when you get to the place where you're like, you know who really matters? 8-year-old me that got done wrong 1 billion times, then that just matters less. But it won't matter less unless you continue with therapy and you're honest with your therapist about what you're really going through. So, best of luck to you, my dear. Do you want to do another one?
Sure. I have one that says, Dear Crystal and Kid Furry. It does say furry.
I know it does.
So,
I skipped the ones that misspell our names.
That's right.
So, my bad.
My man and I have been together for over a year, and I love him. We have no problems outside the usual couple things. But he is really great about keeping a cool head and talking things out. We really only have one problem. He is fat phobic and doesn't even know it.
Oh, God.
I am a curvy, delicious, thick, size 18 goddess.
Go off.
I have luscious hips, succulent titties, and a fat ass that I love.
Okay.
He's the first one to say how much he loves my curves and tell me how perfect my body is. He uplifts me all the time with his words and his actions. But when we see a fat person on the street or on TV, he's the first one to have a negative comment about their body and comments about them being lazy or eating horrible food. And worst of all, he totally discounts the body positive movement as enabling fat people.
Oh, God.
None of this makes us, which is just like,
That's so stupid.
I just, ugh.
Does the never mind. Keep going.
None of this makes sense to me because I'm not even the first plus size girl he's dated. I figured a man who loves a fat girl would uplift other diverse bodies. When he says disparaging things about fat people or the body positive movement, I get in my feelings. I don't see much difference between my body and the bodies of the people he is so negative towards.
That's right.
Also, the body positive movement has helped me change my life and love my body. When I bring this up to him, he says that my body is not like those people because I work out and eat healthy as much as possible. He says he doesn't understand why I need body positivity because I should have never allowed society to make me feel bad about my body in the first place. He just doesn't get it. Am I in break up with him territory, or is this something I can keep working on with him? My skinny friends think that because he loves my body, I'm good, but all my fat friends said I should run.
Listen.
What do you think, guys? Love you, the fat, fabulous goddess.
Did she say how long they've been together?
Over a year.
Okay. So the thing is, fat phobic partners can be redeemed. They can be rehabilitated, but you have to be willing to put in the work, and that can be really difficult to do and really upsetting because, like you said, the comments he makes about fat people, even though he doesn't mean them towards you, you have that same body. So he is still talking about you. And ultimately, oh God, I need to get a fat activist on this show. Somebody who doesn't have me blocked. The girls don't like me, but I need to find a fat activist in New York City to come be on this show and talk about this with us, because I have personally been researching not just body positivity, but fat acceptance, which is what body positivity was born of.
Yeah.
And so many people feel the way your boyfriend does, where it's okay if you're bigger than a size 12 or 14 because you exercise every day and you eat vegetables all the time and you only eat cake, once a month. And so it's fine, but the thing is, everybody deserves human respect and decency. That's regardless of their body or why their body looks the way it does. Some people are just naturally fat. They were born fat. They were fat kids, fat teenagers, fat adults, and they'll die fat. Some people gained a lot of weight in college and never managed to take it off. Some people had kids, never lost weight. Some people were depressed, ate and drank their way through life, gained weight, and it is what it is. But it doesn't matter why your body looks the way it does. You still deserve the same respect that everybody else deserves.
I was watching, I spent a lot of time on YouTube looking at clips and my favorite web shows and whatever. And somehow, I don't know what I was watching. Oh, probably MMA clips, honestly, now that I think about it. A clip from Joe Rogan's podcast popped up on my recommended on YouTube. And I don't really know anything about Joe Rogan besides the fact that he used to host Fear Factor and commentates on MMA stuff.
That's the only way I know his name.
Yeah. So it was about him commenting on this fat girl that was on the cover of Cosmopolitan, a plus size model. I don't remember what her name was, but he and whoever was on the podcast with him at the time were just talking about body positivity as being basically everything that your boyfriend just said and it being fake.
Probably Tess Holiday.
Right. So the thing about it, that it was first of all, what the fuck does this lady's body or anybody else's fat body that they love have to fucking do with you? Goddamn nothing. Nothing.
Nothing.
But aside from that, it was just the way, the tone in which they're speaking is not a way that's even I'm concerned about your health as much as it is demeaning. You're a fat person and you're eating because you hate yourself and all of this other assuming shit.
Yeah.
That is that is why people have a body positivity movement.
Yeah.
You don't know what the fuck people are going through. And like you said, some people fat when they're kids. Some people grew up in households where they're
hormonal disorders. It could be any fucking thing.
You don't fucking know. So just shut your ass.
Yeah.
You could just shut your ass.
That fat person's health could be better than yours, but also it could not. And either way, it don't matter because they deserve the same dignity. When people are sick, you know what? I'm not even going to make the other comparisons to what y'all do to cancer patients or whatever, because what it really boils down to, the black ass bottom line, is that people deserve respect regardless of how you feel about their bodies. And most people are fat phobic to some degree. It is true. But that doesn't mean that their feelings about fat bodies have to be your feelings about fat bodies, especially your own. So if you feel like it's worth the emotional investment to try to get your boyfriend to understand why talking about fat people in general also hurts you, then do that. But if you feel like I don't have the time or the energy for that, then leave that nigga. I've actually gone through this before. Not necessarily with regards to body size or weight, because I've been all over the place many times in my life and I'm sure I will again. But I used to have really bad skin, really bad acne when I was a teenager, and went on Accutane twice, as in addition to every other acne drug out there. And so once my skin kind of started looking like everybody else's, I would occasionally be careless and make fun of people who had said something ignorant or dumb or mean by making fun of their skin. And then one day, a friend, a mutual friend, commented on whatever picture that I had posted or commented on and was like, I just want to say that it really hurts me when y'all make fun of somebody for being stupid or whatever and talking about how bad their skin is, because my skin is also bad and I didn't do nothing about that. It's not my fault or whatever, and I'm very sensitive about it. And I remember being very sensitive about my own skin.
Right.
But it's just, it's human nature that sometimes we forget those things and we can inflict that same hurt on other people. And since that day, I have not made fun of people for being stupid by pointing out their bad skin. It's kind of like with Donald Trump. Everybody loves making fat jokes about Donald Trump. And I will not defend Donald Trump in any situation. But if somebody is saying, I made this fat joke about, Donald Trump, and I stand by it because he's a fat ass piece of shit and terrible. He is a piece of shit and he is terrible, but it's not because he's fat. And so people who are fat saying, hey, when you talk about him for being fat or whatever else, it hurts me because I have his same body. Like, that is a real thing. You don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to change your language or your approach. But when people you care about are saying these words hurt me, even though you mean to hurt that person, then, do you really want to hurt your fucking friend or family? Like, I don't. And so that's why I stopped doing that. So I hope you can put it to your boyfriend that way and maybe he can understand it from that point of view. But he also probably has his very own, very deeply held fat phobic beliefs that are not going to be easy for him to get rid of. So if at any point he starts making you feel like there's something wrong with your body, or if he continues to make these comments, like, he can think whatever he wants to, but if he makes these comments around you especially, then I would say to him, it ain't too many times you can sit here and make fun of my body type and I'm just going to sit here and act like you're not doing it. Like, do you want me as your fat ass girlfriend or not? Figure it out, nigga. Because an 18 is on the lower side of plus size. So
how about I just don't
figure it out.
Being an asshole.
Figure it out, bitch. Right.
I'm just not into
I don't like you being a mean, terrible person. And I grew up in a fat phobic household like most other people did. My father was mean, vocally mean when we saw fat people on the street. My mother was constantly on a diet, even though she wasn't fat. And she would put like her diets on the refrigerator and shit. And I'm like, oh Lord, this bitch is back on the black coffee and grapefruit diet. Like, goddamn, mama. Like, sis, you're not even fat. But anyway, the point remains that you don't have to sacrifice your mental health and your well-being for the way your boyfriend feels. And if he's not capable of getting on board, or if you don't want to extend that energy, then get away from that nigga and find somebody who loves you and your body and everything else about you, and is also not shitty to other human beings for their bodies.
All right.
Okay, I think that wraps up this mailbag portion of the mailbag episode. We're going to take another break. We'll be right back. Hey y'all, support for today's episode of The Read comes from Third Love. With more than 80 sizes, including signature half cup sizes, Third Love designs bras with breast size and shape in mind for a perfect fit and premium feel. Y'all know how I feel about that 24/7 t-shirt bra, the only bra I don't rip off as soon as I get home, because it feels just incredible. It is the most comfortable bra I own. The straps don't slip. They have tagless labels, which is just a true gift from God. And really, Third Love bras are so lightweight. They have this super thin memory foam cups that completely mold to your shape. It just makes your titties feel like they are on a waterbed. It feels so good. But best of all, every customer has 60 days to wear their bra, wash it, put it to the test. If you don't love it, just return it and Third Love will wash it and donate it to a person in need, which is so incredible. Third Love knows there's a perfect bra for everyone. And right now they're offering y'all 15% off your first order. Just go to thirdlove.com/read now to find your perfect fitting bra and get 15% off your first purchase. Again, that is thirdlove.com/READ for 15% off today. Let them know if you're in Crystal sent you. Let's wrap up the show. Just kidding. We're going to move on.
This episode is also being brought to you by Bevel. Let me tell you about a couple of their products. First of all, there's the Bevel Trimmer, which is a GQ award winner and go-to for the best barbers in the game. You can experience 4 times the battery life versus their competitors, easy gap adjustments, and next level lineups. First of all, I'm a huge fan of Bevel and have been for the longest time because as someone with sensitive skin and, sometimes need to shave or trim or whatnot, I don't be wanting to deal with ingrown hairs and bumps and bruises and batters and cuts and all the other things that Trina raps about. And I never have to worry about that stuff with Bevel, with their trimmer, with their shaver, nothing. And they've even got something called Bevel Skin, which is the dermatologist tested solution that helps cleanse and hydrate your skin and even your skin tone. Bevel is designed specifically to work for our skin, Black women and Black men's skin.
That's right.
So finally you can get a lineup that complements your lineup. It's a face wash, gentle yet powerful exfoliating toner, moisturizing face gel, and spot corrector, which reduces hyperpigmentation in other spots and things like that. So if you're just trying to, moisturize and level out your situation and feel clean and, not like the back of a bunch crunch, then you know where to go. Everything you need, it's right here with Bevel. They're made with only the best ingredients. It's a good look. Level up your skincare routine with Bevel.
And y'all know how I feel about Form. I still completely stand for form, especially that multitask 3-in-1 leave-in hair lotion that they have. Truly some of the best products I have ever put on my hair. Shout out to Tristan Walker with this Black-owned business, doing things for Black people, the things that we need, okay? So remember, go to getbevel.com/theread. That is GETBEVEL.com/theread. And let them know Kid Fury and Crystal sent you. Go ahead and get your stuff, girl. All right, let's wrap up the show.
We're back, and it is now time for the read.
It is.
So mine isn't really long. I don't even have like an expansive opinion besides the New York Times is absolutely ridiculous.
I'll set the alarm for 20 minutes.
So the news has been real funny.
It's been hilarious in a tragic way.
Have been laughing to keep from crying.
Important.
I don't know what the fuck this nigga in the White House is doing. What he thought that he was doing.
Yeah.
It is an utter shit show. With this whole impeachment inquiry, the reason behind it, the transcript. The whole thing is garbage.
The fact that the transcript is their edited, cleaned up version, and it's still so bad.
Heinous. It's like, bitch, where's the uncensored version?
I can't wait to see the real one because you know this implicates so many people. It's really bad.
Then this nigga came out and was like, well, let me tell you something. If you would have heard what my girl Mike Pence was talking about, honey, she's the one with the real.
If you would have heard what Bill Barr said, bitch, Mike Pompeo was on that bitch.
And Rudy Giuliani's fucking Oswald Cobblepot fucking ass, Danny DeVito as the penguin looking ass bitch, walking around just saying whatever, just saying anything.
Oh, Christ the King.
So
come through, Jesus.
So my shortened version of this, or explanation of what is going on, in case you haven't heard, there's a whistleblower that let people know that the president of the United States of America was having conversations with the president of Ukraine, where he clearly talks about withholding money from them that they need in return for possible information about Joe Biden and his son for this election coming up. So
this white man's on my nerves.
I mean, girl, what?
Making it so hard to vote for him if he gets the nomination. Making it so hard. Impossible.
So, the New York Times recently posted an article about the whistleblower that was titled,
oh God,
the whistleblower is a CIA officer who was detailed to the White House. Yeah.
Oh God.
The president was already out here talking about what they used to do to spies and how they handled treason in the old days and stuff, which to me, I just processed as another one of his many tactics where he sends his stands out to go and hurt people, basically, and incite violence. So the fact that the New York Times would print this information about the whistleblower and basically all but say his goddamn name, to me is absurd. And some more than that was their response to it, which basically was about how they had the right to post it and how they were trying to help the American people who had answer or who wanted answers to questions. I even seen someone here who said, this is Michael Schmidt. Much of the criticism of us yesterday came from Obama administration folks.
Oh God, the New York Times has been. You know what? Never mind. This is your read.
No, like
they've been fucking up so consistently. Anyway,
what the fuck,
girl,
are you talking about? I know. Okay, so for whatever reason, there even still seems to be
the fact that you were playing with these do-rag
Yeah, they're
straps like they're your hair.
Yeah.
And where did you get the Reed do-rag? I was going to ask.
Alex made these, but
she didn't sell them? Because I've never seen that.
They're not out yet, but I need them to be. We got to change something about them. But
I did not know that existed.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Great.
Yes, I mean, I know that there seem to be people for whatever reason who have opinions about this whistleblower and whether they did the right or wrong thing. I think the common consensus, at least, seems to be, I hope, that the whistleblower did what the fuck needed to be done. I just don't understand these opinions on the other side.
Right.
There are still Trump supporters out here in our government talking about, oh, this is all based on hearsay. Like, we read the transcript.
It's not based. I mean, it is hearsay, but we all know it's true. And even if it wasn't, there's a billion other things you could impeach this nigga for. Get out the fuck out of here. I'm sorry. Like, I get so mad when this comes up. I get so mad.
What are y'all talking about? My whole thing was, I just don't even understand why. Like, the whistleblower, to me, did what the fuck needed to be done. And there are absolutely, like, rights that are in place for these people in these kinds of situations. Right. And you're dealing with a president that clearly, what is it, McGuire, homeboy who took the shit to the White House instead of going to the fucking, going to Congress with the whistleblower complaint? Is it Joe McGuire? I'm sorry, but
I have no idea who you're talking about.
Basically, what I was trying to get into there was that there was already so much cover up surrounding
the director of the Counterterrorism Center. Yes,
boom,
that is him.
There was already so much cover up in place when this was when it became a thing.
True.
That it's clear that this whistleblower should be protected. I just feel like regardless of where you, even like, I don't care how right, left, middle up, down, upper left, east, northwest, Saint, Psalm,
all of
Chicago.
them.
I don't care where you are. You should be on the same page as everybody the fuck else as it comes to this. So I just feel like the New York Times honestly should suck a dick for that article as well as for their response to that article, because it really would be nothing for, in my opinion, this person to be found, hounded, harmed, or whatever due to some bullshit like this. And the fuck for what? Like, nigga, we need to be powering up together on some Voltron shit, on some Megazord shit to do what the fuck needs to be done. Republican, Democrat, partisan, I don't give a fuck who you are, how you feel, what your color, creed, culture is, bitch. Like, this should be... This bruised apricot must go.
He's got to go, bitch.
So, what is it going to take?
He has got to fucking
That's all
go.
I just really wanted to say fuck you to the New York Times, because I was like sitting here sincerely laughing at most of the news, because I don't, when it first came out, actually the first time I heard it was when we were in the writer's room and Keisha was saying something. She's made a comment about, well, you know, Trump looked like he might get impeached or something like that. And I, in my head was like, okay, well, what the fuck did he do about today? No, this was like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, maybe. Okay.
And her last week, I don't remember when it was, but she brought it up when we were in the writer's room at one point. And I was like, prepared to go look on, you know, the news and see whatever dumb thing it is that he did or said that we would stop talking about in 24 hours.
Right.
When I got into what it actually was, I was like, oh, okay. All right. And I followed update by update. Mm-hmm. Bitch, I was watching all of the clips in the comments from every network, every news anchor.
Same.
Just laughing my ass off, because I don't, on one hand, I don't feel like anything is going to come from this for real. Like, I don't know what to expect anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. I feel helpless to just whatever this country is going to do at any point.
Yeah.
So I've just been trying to make the best out of it by laughing at how shit and ridiculous this whole fucking situation is. But this to me is like, all right, are we gonna like, are we ever gonna act like we have some sense or just be respectful? Like, what the fuck time does it need to be for y'all to understand what's at stake here? Like, we're not even talking about somebody who sincerely cares about whatever their party stands for or anything that has to do with the country. You're talking about somebody who just wants to continue to line his own pockets, do what's best for him, and get his nut off by being the president.
Oh, God.
He don't give a fuck about none of what y'all talk about.
Period.
So, I'm really like confused. Like, this whole shit with them and every other person who has got on TV, radio, Twitter, Instagram, anywhere in support of this man and his fuckery.
Yeah.
I don't see how we're still doing this.
Me either.
I don't. So I'm done.
It's because white racists are so dedicated to their racism and their xenophobia that nothing else matters.
But like, girl,
even though most of them are paying more taxes under his bullshit tax plan, they're in danger of losing their health insurance if they haven't already, in danger of losing their jobs. He's very anti-union and that sort of thing. So even if you do have one, good luck being treated fairly. Like, there's so many reasons for most white people in this country to not vote for Donald Trump, but the racism and the hatred of immigrants, even though literally every last one of them is an immigrant, is all that it takes for them to be like, fuck that, we're keeping Trump in office. And that's why y'all deserve every bad thing that happens to you. Like, at least I benefit from Trump's presidency, which is a disgusting thing to say. But my taxes were so much lower under Donald Trump after his bullshit tax plan than they were under the Obama administration. And I don't think that's how it should be. I don't think I should be paying less taxes, but at least I am getting a tangible benefit from this greedy motherfucker being in office. Y'all literally are getting nothing. Your lives are so much worse if you just look around the trailer. And yet here you are continuing to vote for this motherfucker who is going to make your life worse. How can you be that dedicated to hating brown people?
I
don't get it.
Can't find logic. Like, I wish I could like even say what you're saying in terms of like, okay, well, here is the like 0.005% where I guess I could throw you a bone. I
understand rich people voting for Donald Trump because he's drastically lowering your taxes.
But it's like,
but
voting
he's a terrible
for
person, right?
A water balloon filled with cottage cheese.
Exactly.
Like, I'm not gonna anything.
I'm not going to vote for lower taxes when it comes with somebody who treats human beings like they are not people. I will never vote for that. I don't care how low my taxes are. I will never vote for that. And yet some of you can't wait. Y'all are breaking your necks to vote for Donald Trump, and he's doing fuck all for you.
Poorly.
At that.
Like, awfully. Not even on some slick, smart politician shit.
Right.
It's legit like one of them fucking mascots out in Times Square is the president.
Exactly. Oh,
I'm sick of this shit. Like, I don't understand.
The naked cowboy.
I don't understand. That fucking Minnie Mouse that looked like she fell off the back of a U-Haul truck
One of them
somewhere.
Grovers. One of them Elmos.
Just these off-brand ass Sesame Street characters. That's your president. What the fuck?
Father God, come through Jesus.
But yeah, that whole article about the whistleblower was so ridiculous. And the way that they tried to respond to it, like, everyone from, I feel like so many different sides except for super Trump stands.
Yeah.
We're like, what the fuck are y'all doing New York Times? What are you doing? What is this?
Exactly. And I think the whistleblower is now under some sort of protection.
I would expect so.
I don't know what it is exactly. Maybe not the Secret Service, but they're under something now, and like probably being held in protective custody because it's only a matter of time. If the Trump administration doesn't already know who it is, it's only a matter of time till they figure it out, and that person is probably in grave danger.
I feel quite confident that they know who it is now.
I just am glad that the Democrats have finally woke the fuck up and decided that this is something that they can actually move on, because while Maxine Waters has been talking about impeachment since day fucking zero.
Did you see back? Let me see if I found it.
What was it?
I recorded a clip of her talking to somebody. God, I wish I remember which anchor it was. But she was talking about how ready they were for it. And he asked her, like, can you get the 218? Like, can you get the majority? Because this is about, he's like, I've been on the Hill forever. And his numbers are what matters. Can you get the 218? And she was like, oh, absolutely. And he said,
we already have the votes,
you
bitch.
Oh, absolutely.
We sure can.
She had the most beautiful brown smile on her face. My sis was impassioned and satisfied.
The House can absolutely impeach Trump. Whether the Senate will actually remove him from office is a whole nother thing. Probably not. But if y'all impeached Clinton for getting his dick sucked by an intern, then this motherfucker should absolutely be going through the same thing.
Lost.
Period.
I'm just lost.
It don't matter. I think I just Googled and she was on Chris Matthews, who is my least favorite MSNBC host. But I think that's the thing you were talking about. This old white man right there.
Absolutely.
That's Chris Matthews.
Absolutely that clip.
That's him.
She said, oh, absolutely.
We have it. And I believe that.
We're ready right now.
But we could have been ready 3 years ago. You know, like at this point, we're gearing up to potentially face another presidency from this asshole, y'all.
And that's why I really spent most of the time around this story laughing at it. Because I'm like, okay, well, there have been so many moments where it's felt more than clear what the fuck is going on here. So what should be particularly different about this aside from you allegedly, or you have his alleged word by word.
Exactly.
You know, but okay. We'll see, I guess. What happens?
I'm just saying, inevitably, when Trump is impeached or disgraced and the history books start writing about this, they will start to act like white women did this, when in reality, people of color, specifically Black women, have been telling y'all about this asshole from day zero, and you have not listened. Period. Even Black women who benefit from Trump's plans and policies simply do not support this motherfucker. You can't name a Black woman who supports Trump other than Stacey Dash, Diamond, and Silk. And Candace Owens. And Stacey Dash in jail for beating that white man.
And Candace Owens is a tethered.
She is.
They have no souls.
Candace Owens is actually a liberal who realized she could make a lot more money if she pretended to be conservative, and so that's what she's doing. This bitch don't give a fuck about that conservative bullshit she be spouting.
I just don't care.
She don't give a shit.
Anything coming out of her face.
Period. And she don't either.
Right.
She's saying it to make money.
I don't
to be
care
famous
about Candace Owens.
I can't imagine wanting to be famous. The little bit of attention and recognition that I have is trash. I can't imagine wanting this.
I'm just not interested.
It's so garbage.
But yes, I think that you would have to be some kind of Looney Tunes.
Yep, have to
still be acting like, but I don't. I'm not trying to hear it.
So, me either. But so my read this week is about the Amber Geiger case. If you remember, Amber Geiger is the white cop in Dallas who broke into Botham Jean's apartment because she thought it was her apartment and shot that man dead.
This bitch literally looks like Elmer Fudd.
She does, yes. All Botham Jean was doing was fixing him some ice cream, probably heating up a Hot Pocket, getting ready to watch, his DVR. Listen, I'm saying, I could completely identify with this man. He was getting ready to have some ice cream when this white woman bust in his house and killed him. So anyway, we talked about this on the show when it first happened. Again, because the incredibly striking thing about this is that Amber is a police officer, and yet she did not have the state of mind to realize she was in the wrong apartment, to, instead of leaving, taking a step back, looking around at where she was, and then going back down to her own floor, breaking into this man's house. And then as a police officer, having a full belt of tools that could be used, and yet going for the gun. Yeah. And shooting for a man who was unarmed and truly confused. Because why is this white bitch in my house? So the trial is going on. Amber's been using her white woman tears to their full effect. Shout out to the white lady who emailed us and told us that white women do that on purpose.
I did see that.
We knew that. But yes.
Thank you for the
y'all do that. We know.
It is literally the face of that white woman cry defined. It's so fake. It's so bullshit. And all it does is make you look like a Mary Melody, bitch. You look like Elmer fucking Fudd. Or Elmira Duff, pick one.
And I'm honestly not mad at that, because fuck Amber Geiger and everything that bitch stands for.
I hate her.
Period. But this week is actually, my read is actually about Tammy Kemp, who is the judge in this case. Tammy Kemp is a Black woman.
Oh, God.
which is even more stunning. But she ruled that the jury can consider the castle doctrine during their deliberations. That is very similar to the stand your ground law, which exists in most southern or red states. And it allows a person to use deadly force if necessary in the protection of a home, vehicle, or other property if someone attempts to forcibly enter or remove an individual from the premises. The judge also, Tammy, this black woman, ruled that jurors may consider manslaughter as well as a charge when dealing with this case. Obviously, the big issue here is that Amber Geiger broke into somebody else's house. And even though I am anti-gun personally, I am very pro if people break into your house and they get what's got coming to them. Like, there was a story that came out last week about 3 black teenagers who were shot and killed by this homeowner. It's very sad. But them niggas would also fully planned a home invasion. And that's what they were executing when they got shot. And so if you break into somebody's house, I can't blame the homeowner for being like, it's either going to be you or me, or you and my kids, you know? And I'm not choosing my kids. I fully get that. But this bitch was not even in her own home. Mr. Jean was in his home with his good fucking ice cream. Okay, that was his Bluebell. And it was the really good shit. It was the banana pudding flavor.
So good. Got the wafers.
That was his Jenny's ice cream with the biscuits and the peaches. Mm-hmm. And he did not, the man simply did not, it ain't no grounds for the castle doctrine or stand your ground law when you broke into somebody else's house. And of course, her attorney has been arguing that you can't be mad at her. I mean, like, you can be mad or you can hate her, but you can't convict her of this because, you know, you can't use emotion when you're making your decisions.
That don't make no damn sense.
They had a Texas Ranger testify as well during the trial, talking about how a person can have have tunnel vision and short-term memory loss when they're stressed out and all this. The
so
fact
much so that you got into somebody else's goddamn apartment.
You broke into somebody else's house,
looked
bitch.
at all of their furnishings that ain't yours.
It's not yours, bitch. And you're a police officer, meaning you have probably a taser at your hand. You have one of them big ass whacking sticks, whatever they call them shit.
Possibly.
All that shit. You didn't have to shoot that man to kill, but you did. You did. And so I say all this to say, Judge Tammy, I'm not a judge. I will never complete law school or the bar or whatever else it takes to be a judge in America. I will never do those things. But I cannot believe that a black woman, one of the very few people who, you know, usually don't desert the black race, to decide that this white woman can use this as an excuse. I really don't understand what motivated you to do that. Because at the end of the day, even if it was an accident, even if she really thought she was at home, even though the furnishings were totally different and not at all set up in the way that her home was, even if she didn't think, I'm a police officer, I have so many other options at my ready than to kill this man right here. I don't understand how you can say that she is justified in that. I don't understand how you can say that she does not deserve to be in jail for that. If anything, she deserves to be in jail even more because she is a police officer, so she should have better instincts and she should be able to better react than the common everyday person would. You should be able to do that. You had multiple ways of restraining this man if you really thought that he was in your home, but you should have known from the very first fucking glance that he wasn't, because it wasn't your fucking shit.
All this crying face does is just make people want to punch it. Like I don't even.
I'm just
all that
sick.
bullshit you talking about. Like, girl, they need to just make a dartboard out of that picture of her crying. Right. I hate her.
This bitch probably heard Botham. I hope I'm not pronouncing your name, sir. She probably heard him from in the hallway or outside the door, watching Project Runway and taking his ice cream out the freezer. Mm-hmm. And she probably got mad from that very moment and thought, oh my God, somebody's in my house. I got to be ready to take care of this motherfucker no matter what. But that's the best way of looking at it. But even if that is the case, it's still fucking foolish. And not only should this person not serve on the police force, she should not be a free human being. If you are the type of person to kill somebody else when you were totally in the wrong, you need to not be free free to mingle amongst the rest of us, period. So Judge Tammy, sis, fuck you. I don't know how them white people put a battery in your back. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe you're a Kanye fan secretly or some shit. I don't know what your deal is, but sis, allowing the jury to consider this as a possibility is so fucking dangerous because there is no stand your ground law when it's not even your ground. It was Mr. Jean's ground. It was his. And he deserved to eat his fucking Bluebell and his Haagen-Dazs in peace.
Even your
It's
ground.
not your ground, bitch.
You idiot.
I'm really hoping the jury comes back on this the way they should, but I'm gonna temper my expectations because America has disappointed me so many times. And so again, I would like to say it's been a while, but if you live in Amsterdam or really anywhere in Europe, New Zealand as well, and you would like a chunky black wife, I'm right here. I'm very available. Just let me know. I need to escape because I don't see myself in this country long term. And I feel like America deserves to be better. And we, the majority, have every right and responsibility to make things better, but also that I don't want to sacrifice another generation of black people to this shit. And while anti-blackness and racism are global, that is very true. The gun shit is very specific to America.
Like down to the ground.
When New Zealand had that mass shooting, they banned assault rifles 9 days later. Only one person was against that shit. They banned that shit less than 2 weeks later. We have had people shoot up a school and kill kindergartners and first graders, and the GOP was like, I mean, collateral damage when it comes to guns.
I mean, why can't we just put like some rocks in the classroom?
No.
And they can throw the rocks.
Fuck that.
And then...
Speaking of, did you see the Sandy Hook Promise commercial?
No.
Oh,
yes, I did.
with the kids going back to school?
Yes.
And at first it's very innocent. My mom bought me this
that
backpack.
shit was like bone chilling.
And then the more you get into the commercial,
my God,
the scarier it gets.
So unsettling.
And then at the very end with the black girl hiding in the bathroom and texting her mom saying, I love you.
That was so, like I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
That
Because then the killer
terrifying.
walks into the bathroom and the little girl is like shivering, trying to be quiet, hoping that she stays alive. America, this is what you are. Children are afraid to go to school. Girl, what in the hot nut fuck? I don't want to put my kids through that.
But you shackling up 6-year-olds for having temper tantrums because they tired.
Listen.
I hate this place.
At least when I was growing up, Columbine happened when I was probably in 8th grade.
Yeah,
I think I was in middle school. Middle school, maybe. Yeah, I think I was in middle school when Columbine happened. And it was considered like the craziest thing. It was a news story for months and months and months. It was
all Marilyn Manson's fault.
It was. They were like, oh, he's a goth. So, fucked up. And yeah, maybe. But there are plenty of goth kids who don't ever fucking take guns to school. So no, fuck that. But there was a copycat in Oklahoma just a very short time after that. And I feel like it didn't get a lot of attention because nobody died. But when that happened, I was like, yo, even in Oklahoma.
That could just be me at my
It could literally be me at my school.
Yep.
And it has gotten so much worse since I graduated high school in the year 2000 that I truly doubt that I could send my children to a public school in America. I just really doubt that I could do it. And it shouldn't be that way. Because I went to public schools. I went to great public schools. Shout out to Booker T. And it should not be that way, but it is that way. So America, please do better. And please send this bitch Amber Geiger to prison. Because if a police officer can't tell that she's not in her own goddamn house, that bitch deserves to be in jail. Fuck is you talking about? I've never been so drunk in my life. Drunk, high, whatever else. I've never been so fucked up that I couldn't tell that I was at the wrong house. If I try to put my key in the door and it don't go, guess what I do? Take a step back. Am I on the right floor? Is this the right apartment?
Now let me say this. I have been drunk and come home.
That's true.
And went to the
wrong floor, yes.
And that key wouldn't even go in, and I'm like, well, wait.
Have I forced myself inside and killed the people who live there?
I know that only to look up and see the whole land.
I'm in the wrong floor. That's right.
That is absolutely. And then not only do I not bust in and murder the people in there,
yeah,
I hurry away in case they hurt
praying
me.
They don't see me. That's right. Praying y'all don't see my dumb drunk ass standing outside your house.
I'd be afraid that they're going to shoot me
That's
for
right.
being drunk.
That's right.
And being the black ass motherfucker to be at their door thinking that they're at the right place. Lock her the fuck up.
That's
I don't care nothing about them frown lines or them tears, bitch. Get the fuck out of here with that shit. Fuck you.
Woo. Okay, so that wraps up this week's episode of The Read.
Did you watch Saturday Night Live?
I didn't, but I did see the screenshots of Maya dressed up as Kamala Harris.
You have to watch
I will.
that whole
I will.
sketch.
I will.
Kate McKinnon as Elizabeth Warren. Woody Harrelson as Joe Biden.
I love Kate McKinnon.
Larry David as Bernie Sanders.
Oh
And he
my
looks
God.
exactly like honestly, at first I thought it was Bernie. And then I was like, nigga, that's Larry David.
Oh my God.
And
That's
Maya
like that
Rudolph.
Baldwin with Trump. He does such a good
He did
Trump.
the cold open.
Oh, of course he did.
Actually, nigga, Saturday Night Live was funny this
I'm gonna
weekend.
watch it. When they have real shit to make fun of, Saturday Night Live is golden.
The political shit for like the past 10 years has been great on SNL.
It's really good.
That shit has been their saving grace, in my opinion. But Maya Rudolph's Kamala Harris was impeccable. She got the facial expressions down. She got the mannerisms down. Everything about it was so fucking funny.
Yeah.
And then Kamala Harris gonna tweet this gif of her, of Maya playing her, and it says, that girl being played by Maya Rudolph on SNL, that girl was me. Because like just watch it. Just watch it.
Okay, I am. I'm
That
gonna watch
shit
it.
had me crying. That and the cold open with Alec Baldwin as Trump, because Kate McKinnon plays Giuliani.
Kate McKinnon is the funniest bitch.
That bitch is hilarious.
I love her gay ass. She is everything.
So fucking ridiculous.
When I realized she dates women, I was like, of course you do.
Yeah,
no wonder you're so
that's why you
goddamn
like us.
funny.
Yeah.
That's why you're so good at this. But on Saturday, I was recovering from Harry Potter World.
How was that?
I went to Orlando with my best friends from high school this past weekend.
Did you go on the ride with the spider?
Nigga. So was there a spider? I went on the Gringotts ride, the bank ride.
Okay, I haven't been on that one yet.
That one is really fun.
I don't think it was
went
open
on
when I
the,
went.
and then we took the train over to Hogsmeade.
Yeah.
We rode the ride in the castle where you're basically flying, basically.
With Hagrid or whatever.
No. Oh, but there is a ride with Hagrid and the motorcycle. We went on that.
Yeah, no, not that one. But
That's
there's
a roller
one where you're like
coaster.
flying.
Yeah.
And there's like at one point you're like in a Quidditch match or something. Yes, that's the one
I went on. Oh, with the yes, with the big ass spider. There's so much that goes on in that ride.
That ride was amazing.
That ride is crazy because the whole time you feel like you're immersed in the experience.
Yes.
You really do. Like you feel like you're flying. You all of a sudden are in the middle of a Quidditch match and Harry's like, follow me. And then you have to like dodge the Dementors and the golden snitches right in front of you.
It's insanity.
And you dive down and go through all this shit. We went on
Not to mention the line, like the queue for the ride is basically you going through Hogwarts.
Yeah, it is. It's
and there's
so fun.
moments where you'll actually see the cast up and they're like talking to you or whatever.
Right.
I miss it.
Well, we paid for the 2-day pass and we paid for the express line, skipping all that bullshit. Completely worth it. I understand why people don't pay for it because it's basically 2 tickets for the price of one.
Yeah.
I do get it. But for people who hate standing like our old asses,
especially this time of year when people
it
are like
was
on break.
so good. It was so good. And so I got my wand.
Which one did you get?
It's a birch wand.
Okay.
They asked, you go in this like little room at first at Ollivander's and they have a show where one person gets selected and their wand selects them. So my friend Adrienne got picked out, which probably happened because she's 14, so the lady probably thought she was a kid. But love you, Adrienne. But so she got to like have the experience with the wand, picking her out on that. And then we went to Ollivander's afterwards and they gave her wand like, this is the one that chose you. But then the lady who was working there, what I love is all the employees are so into this nerd shit.
Yeah.
They're so into it.
They're like supposed to commit
And so
to
even
it.
when you come off the ride or when you board the ride, they're like, all right, muggles, get ready. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not a muggle, bitch.
I think the wand I got, I think the one I got was like Sirius Black's wand.
Okay.
I think that's the one that I got.
Yeah, I got a birch one and bought so many things. Bought a Ravenclaw nightgown. That first night that we went to Orlando, Universal Studios, we all wore our Ravenclaw t-shirts because of course we're all Ravenclaw, of course. And there are so many nerds at that park.
Yeah.
Like, people were so into it, which I was also into because I love Harry Potter, the books, not the movies. But there were like random kids would walk past us and be like, "Oh my God, it's 3 Ravenclaws!" And we're like, "That's right, like."
Like,
it was
people
just
go there
so
to
fun.
just live in
yes,
it.
you go there to do your nerd shit, which is why I totally understand sis earlier, who was like, I go to Comic-Con to be my fucking nerd self.
The buildings look just like
they
the
look,
fucking shit.
When you walk into the area, it looks just like Diagon Alley. Oh my God. And speaking of butterbeer, a bit overrated. The frozen one was okay. What's really good is that creamy white topping on top of the butterbeer.
Oh, yeah.
But they had butterbeer ice cream, and bitch,
I don't remember.
When I say phenomenal, my nigga,
I did have the butterbeer, but I'll
never drink another butterbeer in my life. It's the butterbeer ice cream is so good, bitch.
I bet it is.
And then they sell fire whiskey, so you could just put shots in your drink if you fucking want to.
Wow.
I was like, Orlando, Universal, you have given me more than enough.
I definitely ran down on that candy place too. What's the candy shop?
There's so many. Honeydukes?
Yes.
Or they also have the Weasley Brothers candy shop. There are multiple candy shops.
I went into that one, but I bought shit out of Honeydukes.
Yeah. I was almost going to buy a chocolate frog, but they're like solid milk chocolate, and that's not very fun.
Right, exactly. That's the same reason I didn't buy it.
I don't want a solid milk chocolate frog.
I definitely got them fucking the Birdie Bots. I got the every flavor bean.
Oh yeah,
and then like some other ridiculous.
There's so
shit
much good stuff in there, and so much of it. Like there's a giant dragon on top of Gringotts, which is the bank.
Yeah,
and every like 20 minutes, the dragon breathes out this fire, and the whole area noticeably gets warmer.
Yes,
because it's real fire. And it's just so cool.
You can use your wand. Or like they have some wands that are like sort of like synced with areas in the park so that you can actually do spells and like make things move around. It's really well done.
So at Ollivander's, all the wands are $55. All of them are interactive.
Yeah.
And so those random spots around Universal, you can learn how to do certain like spells, the wrists movements and all that, and then they'll do things like you can control whatever's going on at the park. It was just so fun, and I was so glad to spend that time with my oldest friends and do our nerd shit, and went home and watched Great British Baking Show, and it was just such a washed ass old bitch weekend, and I loved every bit of it. So.
I want to do the Star Wars one.
Oh, I don't know Star Wars.
There's like a new Star Wars land, which I'm imagining is the same thing, like as immersive an experience, but with Star Wars. But I believe it is in Disneyland.
Okay.
Which is in Burbank or wherever.
Yeah.
But
well, I went for all of the Harry Potter stuff, but there's also so much more to do.
Yeah, it's a big ass park. It's just one part of a huge.
So I only have this one memory from when I was a kid, but I remember going and watching going to like what was that adventure nigga in the 90s? Dun, 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 dun.
Indiana Jones.
Yes, Indiana Jones. So they had an Indiana Jones exhibit, and I remember going to that, but I don't remember there being a lot else at Universal that I was into, and it may have been that I was too short to get on a lot of the rides.
Possibly, but I remember being a kid, a Florida kid especially, who grew up where Universal was like not that bitch in comparison to Disney World. Yeah. But then when they opened Islands of Adventure.
Oh yeah, that's the girl.
That's
that girl.
Universal Studios is cool because there are lots of rides and like it's really like a Universal lot.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of film stuff you'll recognize.
Yes.
And like the King Kong ride I remember was huge when I was a
very
kid.
fun.
And I think the Jurassic
we went on that.
Park. No, Jurassic is an Islands of Adventure.
There was a Hulk roller coaster. I don't remember which park it was at. But that Hulk roller coaster is so good.
Because there's a Marvel land.
Yeah, there is.
In Islands of Adventure.
There is.
The Hulk roller coaster is like one of the
Spider-Man shit.
Spider-Man, my daddy.
Superman, we were in like the newsroom or whatever.
Yes. There's a Spider-Man ride that is very similarly done like the Harry Potter one. Yeah. Where you like move around and there are screens and it's whatever.
Yes, exactly.
I remember going on that like the year that it opened. My dad took us to Islands of Adventure. My dad loved that ride. Yeah. It was a thing that was like, we were very much here for the kids and maybe we'll find something that entertains us as well.
Right.
Spider-Man was that for my dad.
Which was us. Like we were, and there were so many adults there who were there to be nerd adults.
Yeah.
But at the same time, plenty of children and babies and stuff like that. And it would have been ridiculous for us to be mad at the children for being there. But
those theme parks are fun for however the fuck old you are, as long as you have the space. And if you're taking your kids there, you're in in, guardian mode,
Right, exactly.
which is not the same. But if you want to have a good drunk high time with your friends, Disney,
And it is that, girl.
Universal,
It's so
Six
fun.
Flags. What is the one in fucking Ohio? Cedar Point. All of these bitches are the shit.
And we went to a place, there was a restaurant outside of the park, because they have like an area called City Walk.
Yeah, that's right outside.
Which basically for the locals. And there's a restaurant called Cowfish, which is a terrible name, but it was so fucking good. And so we just had a great time. Even when we went through like the Dr. Seuss portions of the park, it was like everything is just really fucking cute. Everything's so on brand. And so I just had so much fun. My wand is being put up with my Ava DuVernay Barbie. It won't be touched. It isn't a toy. Mm-hmm. Like my Drake bottle that I have.
This sounds right.
Yeah, I'm not giving those things up. They're not toys. You can't play with them. Actually, I had to tell Noah one time, you may not play with my Ava DuVernay Barbie. She's actually not coming out the box.
Ever.
So figure it out, sis.
You can look at it from
do something else, my nigga. But no.
Okay.
So I had a great time, and thank you so much to the staff and everybody at Universal Orlando who made it an incredible experience, because I will never, ever forget it.
They work very hard.
And they deserve... I don't know that I could deal with that many nerds and entitled rich white people.
It's just all day.
I don't know that I could do that.
I can't even, because you could possibly be having just the shittiest day ever. Yep. You are surrounded by thousands and thousands of people who are the most excited they've ever been.
Living their fucking dreams.
So you got to be ready to play.
My friend Terry took a video of me walking into Diagon Alley, and you can see me going from like a regular bitch walking around an amusement park to being like, oh my fucking Beyonce. Yeah. I am losing my shit, because it is just incredible to walk onto that lot for the first time. It looks just like Diagon Alley. Yeah. It looks just like I dreamed it to be.
The attention to detail is insane.
It's so good. Yeah. So if you have the chance to go, especially if you're a Florida resident, so your prices are way, way lower.
That's right.
Way, way lower.
I still got my Miami.
To the point where I was like, I need to rent a mailbox in Miami so I can have a Miami or Florida mailing address for my credit cards so that I can fucking go and spend way less money.
It's a reasonable discount.
Yeah, it is. Whereas if you are out of state and you buy online, like our tickets for the 2-day, 2-park unlimited ride pass was like a little over $500.
Bitch.
And Universal gave us a $5 discount for booking online. And I was like, bitch, what? We might as well just bought them the day of.
What the fuck?
What the fuck does $5 mean when we spent over $500 to be here? But Florida residents pay in way, way less. So if you live in Florida,
a few things that used to make me feel good about myself.
Yeah, I mean, because so few benefits happen to the people of Florida.
Very few.
It was such a good time. I had an amazing. I just, sometimes you have those weekends or those times with friends or family or whatever. You just feel like I know where I belong in the world, and I am here, and I'm around people who truly get me. It was like that. So
that's good.
Thank you, Universal, for making my Harry Potter weekend totally magical, because a bitch was doing the absolute most. I got a Ravenclaw nightgown. I got a golden snitch keychain. My friend gave me a Ravenclaw keychain. I also bought 2 different journals that have Harry Potter themes. I bought a Marauders map coffee mug, and the back of it says, I solemnly swear I'm up to no good. And I was just like, oh my God, I love this bullshit. We went on all them rides at least 3 times, except the Hagrid one, because the Hagrid one didn't have an express lane, so we had to wait in real line for that one. We were disgusted.
And that one's like an actual coaster.
It is. Yeah. And it's so good because one seat is a motorcycle and the other is like a car seat. And so there was a white boy who was like doing the single ride line. And my friend Adrian had to twist my friend Terry's arm to go on the roller coaster because she don't like roller coasters. So I was in the like lane by myself, and the white boy got sent to be next to me. And I was like, I'm getting on the fucking motorcycle. Literally don't care. And it was incredible. You go all the way up this thing, and then when you think you're about to fall off the edge, the roller coaster zooms fucking backwards, and you go backwards a certain ways, and then you stop for a few seconds, and you think it's over, and then you drop down. The fucking floor drops out underneath you, and you just drop. It was so fun. I can't wait to go back.
Glad you had.
I'm going back on my honeymoon, but anyway, how was LA?
I was Western, and
Did you at least get some good drugs?
oh yeah, totes.
Okay, good.
Plenty of that.
Good.
I handle that how I need to. Like I said, I went to a very fun block party, DJ Behan's block party, and also my friend Jeffrey had like a fitness brunch situation called
What is a
Muscles and
fitness
Mimosas. We did CrossFit.
Oh my God.
And then we had brunch.
That is
everything.
Is your friend Jeffrey a homosexual person?
That's none of anybody's business.
I just feel like that is a very...
Jeffrey is the same person who told me that if you go to have a bottomless brunch or whatever and you don't have at least 7 drinks, you didn't get your money's worth.
Well, that's true.
And so many people have been lying. Like, this is so reasonable. And I see the light now. So clearly, this is someone who understands what
he's actually brilliant, because you don't want people to work out after they've been drinking. But to combine CrossFit and brunch is like the gay's 2 favorite things.
I mean, what else is there?
Literally nothing.
We literally worked out. There's a DJ and all kinds of good shit. And I felt encouraged, and it was very hard. But then after that, we got to get drunk.
I had a good time. I'm probably gonna. I'm happy for you. When I go to LA next month, I will definitely be stocking up on some of my own goodies and things like that. But glad you had a good time, and I hope you didn't let Final Draft stress you out. And
what can you do?
I mean, you know, you're the one with 17 TV shows.
Well, girls, that has been this episode of The Read.
Yes. Again, check us out on social media at This Is The Read. Our website is thisistheread.com. Don't forget our late night show premieres on October 11th on Fuse. If you don't have Fuse, you can also access it through the Fuse app. It will be available for purchase on Amazon Prime and iTunes. And there is something called House Read.
So House Read is a pop-up.
I'm just not reading this text from Alex.
Interactive photo installation, live performance space, and pop-up shop that is celebrating all that is the read. It's happening here in New York City on Saturday, October 12th and Sunday, October 13th. No ticket is required, and it's open to all ages. So basically, this is just some fancy schmancy shit that's coming out to celebrate the fucking podcast.
That's Alex's way of including everybody else in the launch of the TV show, because you know we did not coordinate this.
There'll be fun photos for you to take. There'll be a podcast guests that will come in and make appearances.
Probably will be some candy
giveaways. I don't know what the fuck. It's just going to be a whole affair. But there'll be more information for that on the social media pages.
Tomorrow, evidently.
Probably
I guess she's going to text me. Right. I have a feeling she's going to text me something and be like, post this. So, fine. But y'all will find out more about that. Is there anything else for you this week, friend?
No.
Okay. Well, in that case, do we have a quote or a memo or anything like that to leave the people with? Or shall we just leave?
What you can expect for me to start doing from now on at the end is what I'm going to be calling lessons from the lanai.
Playing with your do-rag strings? Because you're on that shit.
Giving you girls quotes to live by via the Golden Girls.
Okay.
Everybody's favorite sitcom.
Oh, I can definitely do this. I can participate in this.
So, lessons from the lanai coming soon.
Okay.
Another random segment from my brain.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. We'll be back next Tuesday.
Bye.